नमस्ते इंडिया और दुनिया के हर कोने से जुड़ रहे बीजीएमएस के हर दीवाने को। मैं हूं सुरेंद्र सुंदरम और आज एक आगाज, एक नई कहानी लिखी जाने वाली है क्योंकि ये है बीजीएमएस सीजन 4। उस नई कहानी में ड्रामा है, धमाका है, दिल धड़काने वाले वो पल हैं। और जैसे हमारी फिल्में होती हैं वैसी ही जिंदगी होती है। फिल्मों में एक हीरो होता है, एक विलन होता है, एक ट्विस्ट होता है और फिर होता है एक अनफॉरगेटेबल क्लाइमैक्स। और इस सीजन वो थ्रिल्स जो देंगे आपको चिल्स। 28 दिन का ये सफर जहां आपको दिखेगा एक महायुद्ध। हर दिन लिखी जाएगी एक नई कहानी और इन 28 दिनों के बाद इस चमचमाती ट्रॉफी पर एक टीम के होंगे हाथ और वो बनेंगे the undisputed, the blockbuster champion. So, let the games begin. Welcome to the madness. Welcome to the battlefield. Welcome to BGMS Season 4.
BGMI का यूनिवर्सल MVP वापस आएगा एक ब्लॉकबस्टर कमबैक के साथ। कुछ प्लेयर्स का जमाना होता है और कुछ के बनते हैं साम्राज्य। BGMS के मंच पे ओरंगुटान की पिक्चर अभी बाकी है मेरे दोस्त। Esports Ka Blockbuster.
Scouting for a champion, we're back once again in the Android OnePlus BGMS Season 4. I'm going to be your host, Crore. John alongside with me on the panel. It's going to be Scared Yet and Scared Yet. BGMS Season 4, the long-awaited tournament's finally over here, and this time with a lot more new stuff.
Oh my god, man. So many big names coming back into the action again. Some to try and reclaim their former glory, and some to maybe win some back-to-back titles out here. It's going to be super fun and exciting to see.
Of course, and a lot of action will be witnessed in the upcoming days as well. But something that matters the most is always being the format about this tournament, right? The power play system comes into play. A lot more other stuff as well will be there in the picture. And that just twists the entire way of playing the pro scene.
I mean, how many times have we seen in past a lot of tournaments, right? When everything is going in the exact similar manner. But this is that event which always changes things up.
Exactly. And since we've been speaking so much about the format, since we've been speaking so much about the new stuff implemented, let's have a look at the format itself. As we all know, we're currently starting off at league stage itself. And league stage, I mean, the best part about it is that no one gets eliminated from the league stage. 24 invited teams, and they will play 4 matches every single day.
And it's going to start from today itself, going all the way towards the 7th of September. Top 4 teams after that entire leaderboard will be moved directly into the grand finals. And then the mid-8 teams will move directly into the semi-finals. And the bottom 12 teams are the ones who will move all the way down to fight in the playoffs.
As I mentioned, no one gets eliminated in this BGMS league stage, and that's the best part about it. And of course, let's talk a little bit more about the playoffs as well, right? Top 4 from the BGCS league stage, and of course, teams from 13 to 24 from BGMS as well will join in towards the league, towards the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the most important part about it, right? There's the BGCS going on side by side. It's going to be starting from tomorrow itself, which eventually gets some teams a possibility to move into this main stage. But that's not just about it. A lot of stuff that always is brought out here, and that's the most exciting part about it.
Exactly, and the most exciting stuff is also going to be the power play itself. What exactly is power play? Well, the stage 1 inside of the game, all the elimination points that you manage to accumulate inside of the stage 1, those points will be doubled. Now that is insane if you think about it.
And if it's the only thing you think is insane, no, my friend, it's the bounty system that adds another flavor into the mix. After the first 3 days, we're going to be implementing the bounty system as well, and the top 4 teams of the leaderboard will carry a bounty on their back, and one team which eliminates all 4 players will receive 10 additional points.
Now that is insane. Imagine if you eliminate that team in the stage 1 where the power play is implemented. Now that's going to be 18 points off the rip. Now that is something that is extremely insane. And something that is extremely insane is also going to be the prize pool for this entire tournament. 1 crore, 50 lakh rupees on the line, for which the first placing team will get 60 lakh rupees.
I mean, second place 20, third place 12 lakh 50,000. And the fun fact is, it's not just the BGMS teams that can have a chance to win that, also the BGCS team. And since we've been already talking a lot about those points, right, we're having a look at the point system as well. Each finish it's already equal to that 1 point, except if it's in the first circle, and also then if the impact player eventually gets a few picks out here as well. Impact player, once he finishes someone off, will be adding an extra point into the mix. Every single finish means 2 points.
Exactly. We've also got the playing teams. Of course, since we've got so many teams, 24 teams in total, we've divided those teams into 3 groups. Group A is currently flashing on the screen. FS Esports, Metal Esports, Reckoning Esports, Los Hermanos, a lot of the returning names as well.
I mean, some big names out there in Group A, if you ask me. I'm going to call this a group of death because there's God's Reign, there's Orangutan, there's Soul that are going to be the defending champions, Revenant X-Park, NoNx, Marcos. You take the name and you know this is a big shot.
Exactly. Even Meta NINZAs are right there. So one thing is for sure, that Group B is going to be the group of destruction without a doubt. But you cannot really count out Group C either. You've got 4TR Official, Genesis Esports, K9. It's one of the most consistent teams so far, in my opinion. They have been there in the grand finals performing as well as they can.
I mean, that's the most important part about K9, right? This is one of the most solid lineup. Maybe we can see them perform this time.
Exactly. The performance will definitely be there, but something that's going to be there right now, it will be the opening ceremony for this BGMS Season 4. So let's toss onto the stage.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen. Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
R is for RAM on roids. A 12GB ramped up, run on all engines, upgraded in a world resigned to 8 gig. Ridiculously ripped. Raise the stakes with a ruthless dozen. Ready to raid. Write faster, roll smoother. Reach higher with a refuse to die battery. Every app, every activity. Rep, 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 rep. If it's in your radius, R keeps it on rotation. OnePlus 13R. R is ours.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
The champion of BGMI Masters televised for the very first time, Global Esports.
The winner of Season 2 is Gladiators Esports! The winner of the Season 3 is घड़ी की सुइयां और आपके दिल की धड़कन वो मैच कर रही होंगी बिकॉज टेंशन एंड एक्साइटमेंट ये एक बहुत ही पोटेंट कॉकटेल है। लेकिन इससे पहले कि हमारी 24 टीमें इस स्टेज पे प्रकट हो जाएं, हियर इज एन ओजी जो ऑलरेडी यहां पहुंच चुके हैं बिकॉज ये ओजी अपनी सारी टीमों को यहां पे बेस्ट विशेस तो देने वाले, लेकिन उनके दिल में एक टीम के लिए है एक बेहद खास जगह। सो गेट योर हाइप ऑन, हियर इज द वेरी क्लासी KL Rahul.
Hey everyone, KL Rahul here, wishing everyone that's participating in the BGMS all the very best for the tournament. Welcoming the newest members to the Red Bull family, the fan favorite esport team, one of the very best, Team Godlike. Dil se Red Bull, dil se Godlike.
सब्र करने का टाइम खत्म हो गया है। It's time for a blockbuster comeback. और ये comeback लेकर आ रहे हैं Hero Extreme Godlike. अब आ रही है वो टीम जो करती है ओपोनेंट्स की रेकनिंग। सामने है iQOO रेकनिंग esports। जब ये भाई आते हैं तो दुश्मन सिर्फ घबराते हैं। मेक वे फॉर द रूथलेस फोर्स। लो आ गए माई जी लॉस हरमानोस। हंटर्स और उसकी बॉयज की आंखों में जो आता है वो सिर्फ एक शिकार बन के गिरता है। दोस्तों ये है Genesis Esports. जेली का प्लान सिंपल है, कैच देम एंड रिप देम अपार्ट। अरीना में घूम रहे हैं Infinix ट्रू रिपर्स। लॉबी के हर पेज पे सिर्फ एक कहानी लिखी जाती है और वो है अपोनेंट्स की बर्बादी। अगला चैप्टर लिखने आए हैं लिखिता Esports। जब ओवेस जैसे वेटरन टीम में हो तो जीत सिर्फ एक ऑप्शन नहीं, वो गारंटी है। गारंटी बन के आए हैं विक्टोरियस सुमस। वेलकम द असैसिन्स ऑफ द अरीना लेड बाय ड्रैगन ओपी। शिकार करने को तैयार मेटा निंजा। राख से जिंदा और अपने ओपोनेंट्स को राख ही बनाते हुए लॉबी को जलाने आए हैं फीनिक्स Esports। No limits, no mercy, no escape. This is NoNx. एक स्पार्क ही काफी है और जब वो स्पार्क सेंसे के हाथों में हो तो पूरी लॉबी जल जाती है। वो स्पार्क लेकर आए हैं iQOO REVENANT X Spark। ताकत का दूसरा नाम और जीत पे पहला कदम। लॉबी को हिलाने आ रहे हैं मार्कोस गेमिंग। ग्लोबल स्टेज पे दिखाया अपना दम और अब वापस आए हैं BGMS के लॉबी को हिलाने। फिर से धमाका करने आए हैं टीम AX। जहां जंग शुरू होती है वहां एक ही नाम गूंजता है, वो नाम है TWOB। एक वेटरन जो खुद एक लेगेसी है और एक टीम जो बन चुकी है सबका नाइटमेयर, लेड बाय स्काउट ओपी। नाइटमेयर बन के आए हैं मेडल Esports। ओमेगा की ये स्क्वाड है जो एक पैक बन के लॉबी हंट करती है। अपना शिकार ढूंढने आए हैं OnePlus K9 Esports। हर गोली, हर आवाज एक ही चीज चिल्ला चिल्ला के कहती है, fearless. ये है लॉबी के fearless fighters, FS Esports. For the fearless, for the real, for the ruthless, this is 4TR official. Madness उनका शौक है और जीतना उनका हक. दोस्तों, make way for clutch god की सेना. शौक से मैडनेस फैलाने आए हैं मैड किंग्स. इस बैटलग्राउंड के जंगल में बस एप्स करेंगे शोर. जंगल की आवाज iQOO और ओरंगुटान. When Destro leads, आसमानी ताकत लेकर आए OnePlus God's Reign. पावर से बनता है साम्राज्य और उस साम्राज्य का है एक ही नाम. वो नाम है iQOO 8-bit. कहानी वापस वहीं से शुरू हो रही है. सेम जर्सी, सेम ग्लोरी और वही मान्या. कहानी लिखने वापस आए ग्लोबल esports. BGMS सीजन 3 की ट्रॉफी उनके पास है और आज वो फिर आ गए हैं अपनी लेगेसी डिफेंड करने सीजन 4 में. Give it up for your defending champions, iQOO Soul. Man, the stage is set. हमारे BGMS सीजन 4 के ग्लैडिएटर्स अपनी जगह ले चुके हैं and every match today runs on the OnePlus 13 which is made for big plays and built for champions. So put your countdown on your phone. The game is about to begin.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
R is for RAM on roids. A 12GB ramped up, run on all engines, upgraded in a world resigned to 8 gig. Ridiculously ripped. Raise the stakes with a ruthless dozen. Ready to raid. Write faster, roll smoother. Reach higher with a refuse to die battery. Every app, every activity. Rep, 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 rep. If it's in your radius, R keeps it on rotation. OnePlus 13R. R is ours.
Welcome back after that short break to the analyst desk once again. And that opening ceremony was something that gave me goosebumps. And even it feels like the players are now locked in and loaded, just waiting to be snapped inside of that first game itself. But before that, let's start talking about the past itself, right? Let's start talking about the Season 1. We do know inside of Season 1, it was Global Esports who snatched away that trophy. Then inside of the Season 2, we saw Destro and the boys take it away. In Season 3, it was Soul. But now it's Season 4, the question still remains. Who is it going to be? Or will it be Manya once again lifting the trophy third time under the banner of Global Esports.
That's the absolute fun fact about it, right? Because for first time in the very first iteration of the series, Global Esports has exact same lineup of Manya and the boys with Ronnie, Knuckle and Joker. Season 3, exact same lineup of Manya, Ronnie, Knuckle and Joker, but under a different banner of Soul. And this time around, I think so, maybe with the way how things have been going previously, maybe he can make this comeback now. He's playing with the new boys, entirely different, right? That main legendary roster we always used to talk about has been broken, picked apart. But since Manya has left the roster of iQOO Soul, right now it's going to be Knuckle who's basically taking the chart now.
True that. It's been a while since we've seen Knuckle, the man himself, IGLing. So one thing is for sure, there might be a lot of jitters the man can face. Especially it's the day one of the tournament. So one thing is for sure, there are definitely going to be those land jitters that we talk about. In the first game itself, teams are going to try to test the water, know exactly how the game's going to be played out, know what sort of strategies are going to be implemented too. And let's not forget, it's also the new zone structure that these teams are playing on. Once again, it's out of this BGMS Season 4.
And that's the best part about it, right? Because that new zone structure kind of enables team to take those early fights, even in that first circle. That means they can try and utilize the power play to their fullest advantage if they really want to. And
exactly.
We all love that early game aggression, Necro,
I know, right? But yeah, as you pointed out too, and as I was saying as well, Manya in the past was a part of Soul. He's not a part of Soul now. He's back inside of Global Esports with a completely different playing form. Now, that's something that might just add on the spice. Manya is playing with these boys for the first time. It's still a big question mark. Can Manya adjust? Can he be the one to snatch away the trophy third time?
Because the boys that he has right now, they're absolutely top tier boys, right? And some who we used to see in top-notch lineups long back when Somraj was playing under the banner of Versatile. That time he had Troy with him. Troy is right now playing with Manya. You also had the 5th member of OG previously, Veron, who everyone knew to be an absolute power-packed of a dude. But he was just not really getting enough playtime out there because the main boys were doing absolutely insane. So he has now joined in Manya as well. And we always know that legendary man, right? Spray God, whose spray is impeccable.
Yeah, but it's been a while since Spray God. We've seen that man in his top-notch form. It's been years now Spray God has lost his touch. So I just hope that Spray God's going to be back in that ruthless form that we know him for. And once again, you guys did see the schedule a while ago popping up on the screen. The first game's going to be played by Group A and B. That means teams like FS Esports, Team REM, True Rippers, Likitha Esports, Reckoning Esports from Group A will be a part of it, and these teams are supposed to be some of the strongest contenders out there. Now, speaking about the Group B, we've got NINZA, one of the most consistent teams in the entire BGMI lineup so far. You've also got Gods Reen right there, NoNx 2, Soul, OG. OG has been a power pack of a team, and let's not forget, we all know OG in that recent third-party tournament, they dominated. They set records that no one was able to break, and now OG once again, hopefully they continue the same form in the BGMS Season 4 as well, as the plane's gonna hit the skies for the first time in the BGMS Season 4. It's gonna be starting all the way from Georgia Pool towards the southern side, which will be Sanhok military base.
I mean, a lot of teams are going to be super happy about this flight path, apart from the ones who would eventually want to drop it over towards Yasnaya, Polyana, or paths around that same area right now. So, yeah, that's the most important part. I don't think so. Even God's Reign are going to be facing any problem, right? Military base all the way down, absolutely cool. FS is a new roster that I really want to see how it kind of performs. That's the main thing. While on the other side, if you're talking about the boys around the OG as well and all of them, we know they're going to drop around that part of Rozhog. My question is, where will Knuckle take his boys? Because I remember Manya loved the area around school and the apartments.
Exactly, and especially now, if you really look at the plane flat path as well, it's extremely tilted towards the left side of the map. If teams do want to move in towards areas like Yasna, Polyana, Lipovka, Milta Power, now that's going to be a tough stretch, but it's not impossible. It will take a lot of time in the initial stage. There's a big chance the teams that like to drop on towards the right side of the map, they might not be able to take the advantage of the power play.
That's one of the most important things, right? You really need those early few points. You need those early aggressive plays. And for that, you want to make sure that your power player is enabled. And since we're actually, oh my goodness. Yeah, of course. I mean, absolutely fair. We've known this kind of zone meta that shifts entirely away from the flight path. Guess what, Necro? You thought maybe we're not going to see early aggression for the teams who are on the extreme right side? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're going to be slammed in with everyone who's on the left. But since we're already on that topic, right, we've been talking about some power pack players. I wanted to talk about how Fierce has now joined back the lineup of Revenant X-Park, and he's been reunited with Sensei.
I know, right? It goes all the way back to 2023, where Sensei used to be part of Revenant Esports.
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing that the man was not able to bring in the performance that was needed for the lineup to sustain under the banner of Revenant Esports. After that, we did see that entire lineup just go completely broke. They were not there in that same lineup anymore. Everyone was just scattered all across.
Yeah.
We did see Sensei compete under the name of Wildfangs, and now they're back once again in Revenant X-Park. Wildfangs' past performance was great, but now I just hope that same performance is going to be delivered under the banner of Revenant X-Park.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, right? Because if you're talking about Fierce, that man has always been on top. He's been the guy who, regardless of the lineups that he's been a part of, he's always been there. But guess what? Right now, there's a big commotion happening, and FS are the ones who are on the receiving end.
And also, the power play is now active, and it makes a lot of sense, too. It's Metal Esports to go for that early fight and claim those points to themselves. That's going to be 4 points right there. Each finish counts as 2 points in the power play in the stage 1.
And FS were playing with a big split out there. All the players, yes, around the Saverni, since K9 is not here, that eventual area is empty for you, but not without its own consequences. Middle consequently taking that first few frags for themselves, and this is going to give them a lot of confidence boost, right? Because even in the previous third-party tournament which we were discussing about, we did not really see a very solid performance from the boys. If anything, they were on the very smallest end of that struggling stick. I think so. It's about time that we finally see them have a new start, maybe rejuvenate themselves and eventually pull themselves back up, pull their socks up too. Because I'm pretty sure that Orangutan, they would really want to continue their form.
Of course, who would not? Especially the 4 emojis being in. They've been supreme, top-notch, untouched. No matter what you call them, it's less. Setting records, multiple records in just one freaking tournament. In 6 games, they managed to achieve 97 points.
Oh my god.
If you think about it, that's insane. Breaking that's going to be extremely tough, but it's not impossible. And now we've also got Soul on the screen, led by Knuckle. A while ago, we were having a conversation that Knuckle, for the first time, the man's IGLing. Of course, he's played a couple of tournaments in the past as well. But BGMS Season 4 is going to be the real test.
Yep.
Can this man really crack under that pressure? Or will Knuckle face it like no one else in the past?
And I think so. It's not really fully out of that sharpness for the IGLing as well. Back when he was playing with Manya, there were times when Manya would not really lead the team, and it was Knuckle who was giving out the shot calls. Sometimes Manya would not even be in the playing 4, and the rest of the members were playing. And that time also, Knuckle was the one who was pulling the strings. So
yeah,
it's not like it's an uncharted territory for him. And now that he's also got Joker back in the lineup as well, along with Goblin, who returned back to Seoul. Talk about homecoming. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that lineup looks really solid on paper, but how will they perform is the big question.
Knuckle's always been the backbone of Seoul.
Yeah.
Since Manya joined in, his whole package of Knuckle, Ronnie, Joker has been a part of it. But recently, that lineup of Manya was not able to find the results that were needed for Seoul to keep him. So they had to let go of Manya, and then Knuckle took over the IGLing responsibility.
He's been doing a pretty solid job out there.
At least so far, he's been doing a decent job. But once again, he hasn't been tested to the fullest potential. That one big tournament, that's where it all comes down to. And this is that tournament. Manya needs to consistently perform for 21 days, place his team in the top 4 to directly have a shot at being at the grand finals of the BGMS Season 4. Or at least be somewhere between 5th to 12th to move on towards the semifinals.
Really not want to face the teams who would be coming up from the Challenger Series. That's a pretty tough pill to swallow, right? Quite a lot of teams out there in the Challenger Series as well who we would normally expect to be in MS. The teams that have played in the past, right? The 2023 lineup of 8-bit at that time, Juicy and the boys, they all were a part of the entire MS at that time. And we would always see them lingering somewhere around the top 8. Never really too close to the podium though. Another name that eventually popped up a while ago was the name of Pukar. remember last year in the lineup of Carpedium, he had Fierce, and if I'm not wrong, he also had Max at that time.
Yeah.
And we were really expecting that, them to pull a lot of things off because they were constantly clashing on that drop of Pochinki with Versatile, Somraj and the boys.
Yeah, but that was also one of the main reasons why they could not really make it to the grand finals.
Yep.
That stubbornness.
4 free points, huh?
Yeah. Sometimes you can have a look at it that way, but Carpedium was also doing a decent bit of damage. And back then, it was not just Carpedium drop clashing with Versatile. It was also WSB Gaming who was a part of it.
Oh, true.
So it was pretty much a trifecta of death. Later on, we did see VXT give up on that drop location, move on somewhere else, but that's a whole different story. For now, let's focus on what's on the screen. Reckoning Esports, another one of those banners, has been consistently making it to the grand finals of the big tournaments, of the big leagues. They have been there trying their best to perform. Reckoning Esports, it's one of those teams that you expect to be there in the top 5 of every single tournament. But this tournament's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yes. It indeed is a marathon though, but I'm pretty sure that you could treat every single day as a sprint as well, right? Because on a good day, you've got all 4 matches, and on every other day, you've only got a couple of matches. So it's like, you don't perform in one of them, yeah, that's 50% of your day over already. So you've got to focus on the next one. Right now, today, it is Group B. That's actually going to be playing all the 4 matches, right? Group A and Group C will be only playing a couple of more, but here we go. The circle now starting to play its own shenanigans out there. We did not really lose a lot of members, apart from a couple of members from FS Esports. So not a lot of power play points being gained by the teams, but now we're going to see a lot of aggression because everyone will be barging in from the Western Hemisphere.
And once again, with that stage 2 hitting, the power play is not going to be active anymore.
Yep.
It's being deactivated. Power play is just going to last for that stage 1. And only one team was able to take advantage of it. It was Metal Esports.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing if you think about it. They've already gotten 4 points to kick things off with. And those 4 points can go a long way.
I'm actually... Oh, hold on. I was about to say I'm actually waiting for the next few days too. In the meantime, Soul, they've been tested a little bit. Shots being fired out in the open standing. Not really sure if that's the best decision. As Nakul is constantly switching the seats as well. Switching again to take the fight. And now Tanki, all the way out in the open, has been taken down.
It's OG that's getting ripped apart. You do not expect OG to fall down in such a way after setting records in that previous tournament. OG is supposed to be the one to strike. They're supposed to be the one to instill that fear in the opponent's mind. They do bounce back from that setback. Both the teams down to a 3-man squad. It will be a tough pill to swallow, but Soul is not someone that's going to give up like that.
Oh.
They're taking a lot of shots against Aro as well. The man's taken down extremely low, barely surviving on a sliver of HP. But here goes Knuckle as well. The man's knocked out. Goblin on top of the roof. He's going to have the high ground advantage as well. WizGod needs to be careful.
Oh my God.
Misplaced. Legit. He could have had the opportunity to get another knock for his teammates, but he messed up big time. But Goblin's got his back. Aru is taken down to a lot of a low HP. And Aru can't do a lot either. Barely surviving on a Whiskus. Surviving on the Pixel. And Soul, they're constantly on the prowl. They want to hunt the man down, and Aru is trying his best, fighting till his last breath, giving it everything he's got. And the final man of OG's out in the open. AKOP is the MVP of OG. The Apes now in trouble. Just one last orangutan standing. Can they make a comeback inside of the fight? With the way Soul's playing this one, it seems like the confidence is through the roof, and AKOP struggling on a completely different level.
I mean, he's absolutely got no HP out there right now. The first aid not being allowed for him to be applied. Solid prey from Soul. And what a start from the defending champions. Destroying the demons, who are absolutely finishing every single one in one of the previous iterations. What a way, and you can see the disappointment right on the screen. Aru talking to the rest of the members, and here's the thing, right? It was pretty unconventional of OG to take that fight in such a manner. Tanki standing out in the open. Hold on, we'll talk about that.
IG lost Hermanos, hitting the compound with the third party, but luckily enough, Soul got enough time to actually back away from that spot. Kalan and the boys, they have been making an name for themselves recently. Los Hermanos in the big league, even they perform pretty well.
Shadow Spy, Evil Kalan. Roster that some people might know, but not a lot of them. But what's this design on the rooftop? I mean, I understand, all right, but
it's the new wave parking, my friend. The evolved meta.
And you've basically got a very less space out to park the vehicles. You just ram it on top of
That does
your
not
house.
seem like less space, first of all.
I know,
There's
right?
an open ground in front of them.
Saving more space. Who knows? I mean, we're just going to let them do their own
so
thing.
So the only way to get to that building's roof is if you directly jump that vehicle on top of that roof.
They still got on top of the roof without the vehicles as well by opening the door, getting on the
I mean,
ledge
they
and then
can. Yeah, but imagine if the building is being held by someone and if you want to get on top of the roof. So you directly go for a stunt, land that vehicle on top of the roof, and there you go. Now you've got a surprise angle.
You just want style points, that's all.
Of course.
Exactly.
I mean, not exactly style
Aura
points.
farming.
Not exactly style points. Imagine if someone is holding that building. How do you barge in? How do you breach that compound? Well, that can be one of the ways. But hold on that thought. Superman! That's prey. Not connecting. Shots were taken. The man's taken down to critical HP, but it's not enough to take the man down. Pakar in the back lines as well. Trying to take care of Superman, but it's going to be a tough pill. It's going to be a tough man to crack. There's also True Rippers in the nearby vicinity. Kyo taking those shots. Superman taken down extremely low, and Kyo's shots, oh, they're starting to hurt. Superman, he got to take care of his vehicle. If he does not, it's going to be blown to smithereens soon. And he will have no escape option available after that. Marco's Gaming in a bit of a trouble. TWOB, they've got him pinned right next to True Rippers. And honestly speaking, this is one of those fights that's not going to get anywhere. Instead, they will just be third party, and everyone will be eliminated.
Unless they land in a couple of lucky nades and get a couple of important knocks. But yeah, Marcos is not really going to go anywhere from that position. They're absolutely caught bad. Superman, they're going to have some trouble out there. And if there are people who are watching the map feed, yep, there's no one on the south of True Rippers apart from way down south. That's where God's Reign are. Not really going to face any major problems out. No one in their vicinity. Jelly still trying to call in some shots for his team as well. As they try to gatekeep now. Oh my goodness. Pukar, you were talking about that third party, my man. True Rippers were the ones to kick things off right now as Marcos will try to run away all the way from blue. Only to maybe meet Los Hermanos up all the way north.
Does anyone else want to indulge? FS Esports, they are there in the closer proximity, but the only reason FS Esports does not want to engage is because two players were ripped apart off the rip by Metal Esports. And now FS, they've only got two players standing.
Here's the fun thing that I noticed right now, right? I mean, if we saw the map feed as well, and the fun thing I noticed was Sensei is again in the center of the circle. And I know what you're going to talk about, right? Even last year, throughout the league stages, it was Sensei and the boys who were topping the charts. And as soon as we headed on to the playoffs and the finals, that's where problems began. But right now, the problems indeed are going to be for Mosambi right now. Out there, left alone, a player already out, a player down on the knees, but he still manages to find one.
Masaumbi. Problems, but the man's still dealing with them pretty well. IG Los Hermanos taking those return shots. Los Hermanos at this point in time, they've managed to acquire those 4 elimination points. That's a decent way to kick things off with, but only if those 4 points were accumulated in the power play. If they would have had 8 points in the overall points tally. But unfortunately they did not, so that's just going to be counted as 4 points. It is still quite a bit if you think about it. Los Hermanos clearing their territory, making sure they're not going to be backstabbed if they do move in. Masaumbi from Metal Esports. There is Revenant X-Bark right next to him. Metal Esports down 2 men.
My God.
Rough start, but they have managed to convert 4 points. So that's an important thing too.
I was kind of hoping for them to maybe step on the gas and, you know, try and make a nice jump out there, maybe have a nice start, but that is happening right now. The question is, will REVENANT X-Park make their move? Considering they know that there's someone near their vicinity. But Sensei is known to hold the spaces more than trying to take that away. And considering that they're dead in the center of the circle and probably the next one is not going to be a hard shift, it's going to be pretty fine for him to try and hold it down. All the fights that are happening on the offskirts, those are the main questions. As onto the eastern end, we're going to be seeing Los Hermanos maybe take on that fight against True Rippers.
Fury was a part of it too, but Los Hermanos shadowed down. True Rippers, it's going to be a point at it. Constantly taking those shots against Los Hermanos. True Rippers, so far they've got a decent bit of points converted. 6 elimination points on the board. Looking pretty good.
Jelly
stacking upon the loot as well.
Yeah.
They've also got a decent bit of utilities, so that can help them in the future stages. But everyone's just waiting for the next zone to pop up, and REVENANT X-Park will find themselves in the lucky shoes.
Exactly, I mean, wasn't really supposed to be a hard shift either ways. You know, it's actually pretty nice to see the story of Jelly all the way back in Season 2 when he was playing under the banner of OR Esports. Everyone anticipated a very nice placement for them. You know, some people also thought maybe if they actually play out of their mind, they might end up lifting the trophy. There were some days when they performed, but eventually they got disbanded. Then Jelly joined Godlike along with Admino, his ex-teammate. Things happen out there. My goodness, look at that aggression. Jelly, he's just not stopping right now. This is an entirely new form of Jelly that we are seeing. The one who wants to clear the vicinities. The one lion with his pride who wants to claim his kingdom.
Poor Neo. He did not even see that coming.
Actually did.
But I love that aggression from True Rippers. Extremely aggressive. On the toes. Ready for any sort of circumstance that's going to be there in front of them. But there is one man on the flank from God's Read, and it's Justin. If True Rippers moves up a bit too much, Justin from the back will definitely punish.
Oh my god.
But instead, it is REVENANT X-Park taking shots against God's Read. And now God's Read, they're starting to pay the price to be so exposed. Delta's down. Destro's still in the back. There's still Justin as well alive. And Delta needs the revival. Justin needs to cross on up, get that revival on the fallen comrade, save the day for the boys. But is it possible?
Very difficult. True Rippers, do they have an idea that the player that's been knocked down has been them? Oh, right now, out of the open. NINZA, not really in the very best place out there. Struggling on the end, it's Team Arden in front of them. The team that performed absolutely out of their mind, the official one. And the ones who are absolutely on top right now, but Beard Baba never bows down whatsoever. Finally, will be taken down as well. Cyrax shuts him down, puts him out of the misery, and now Team Aryan, clearing out their own northern front, will have to face reckoning.
Aryan's got a casualty on themselves too. Henry's knocked out. Man needs a revival. Unfortunately for a team like NINZA to face an elimination this early, it is definitely not something NINZA saw coming.
Yeah.
NINZA is one of those teams that you will always see in the top 5 of every single game. That's how consistent they are.
True.
It's so rare to see a team like NINZA to get eliminated this early inside of the game. It is quite unfortunate. But Team Aryan, they've got something else on their mind. Henry's knocked out. Devotee gets confirmed. Cyrax, he's got different plans. He wants to push up close and personal against Reckoning Esports. He's not scared of them. Cyrax, he wants to pay a lot of price to the players of Reckoning, and he eventually will be knocked as well. Oh no, it's not a great start for Team Aryan inside of this fight. Reckoning Esports collecting the points in front of them. There is Aryan trying his best to fight back. Is it enough? Dionys is prone in the grass. Position not compromised yet. There comes the cavalry, but Max straight up just runs into his own death.
What?
Henry's there in the back lines to provide the cover fire, but it's a bit too late. Henry, he does deal a decent bit of damage to the players of Reckoning Esports, but Viper, he needs to close up and save the day. Henry does get one confirmation, but is that enough to keep the players of Reckoning Esports off on the bay?
Can't really expose themselves from the backlines as well. There's another team all the way fighting out in the open too. That's a bit of a problem out there right now. Viper gets confirmed, and guess what? It's FS to cause the problems, or maybe you could say save the day for Team Aryan. They'll be able to get their members back up, but do they have the vehicles to hop back in the circle? That's going to be the big question right now, as Revenant X Park in the dead center. They're trying to claim a lot of space.
Revenant X Park constantly hammering the lobby. They're in the smack center. They're taking the advantage of it. They control so much territory. Revenant X Park, they know this can be their game. They control a lot of territory. Roman trying to crawl next to one of the players. That is right in front of him. Wants to deliver a surprise package. Kalan's got no clue that there's a snake lying, proning behind him. Even Lovish is closing in straight up. And Colin's position might be revealed soon.
Yeah.
Eventually, he does get revealed by Roman and eliminated from this game.
Perfect. Two members of FS, they've been lurking around that same area for such a long time, right? And things did seem dire for them, but eventually they were able to bring themselves back right now. Owais and his boys taking the fight against Team Aryan. Didn't really want to stop out there. And guess what? Yes, they've decided they want to try and take that fight. Owais has already sent 3 of his men up in front while he stays in the back lines. And I'm not really liking this move of Revenant X Park right now, moving all the way towards that edge. They want to try and take that fight against Medal and deal with the rest of the members of FS, and that could be a problem.
Team Aryan, the problems continue, and this time, it's going to be the players of VS who straight up just pounce on top of them, victorious. They're here to get the victory inside of the fight, and they probably will too, without even breaking a sweat. Team Aryan, out of the first game.
Yeah.
Victorious sumus. That's a decent way to get the confidence up in the first game, but Revenant X Park now, even the problems start to rise for them. Fierce pushes up, eliminates that final man, dismantles the entirety of Metal Esports, and that's going to be it from them.
Finally, they're going to get that revival up as well, but they've got to make their moves quick. Trace and Fierce, they need to save Sensei, as the couple of members of FS are now pushing up close, and Personal Fury is the man. Long lost under the name of Kevin. He's still standing strong. Support there from the back lines. Lavish up in front, but a nade launched in was impeccable. Roman is increasing the empire. He's still trying to take them down, but it's not enough, as Trace God will transcend him and will put him out of his misery.
But there is still Victorious, waiting to be unleashed. And that is the only team inside of the circle who control a decent bit of territory. Revenant X Park, they need to be done with the fight. And if Victorious, if they punish the players of Revenant X Park,
it's a 2v3.
It will be tough to get out of this dance. Victorious, they've got 3 men standing. Revenant X Park, a clear-cut man advantage inside of the fight. They've got 1 more man standing compared to the players of Victorious Summits, but still, anything can happen. 1 man can eat all of them alive. That's how much potential this lineup has. Thunder on top of the rock. Cheyenne backing him up. Revenant X Park, they've got a man on the flank as well, and Sensei's doing a constant damage against Thunder. Eventually the man needs to back away, but Sensei's position is now revealed. This nade from Thunder, it needs to find the mark. Does do a decent bit of damage, but it's not enough to keep Sensei off of the bay. But eventually Thunder gets back in his vehicle, try to escape, but he gets caught. Fury, this man is furious, does not want to let anyone go away that tried to take a dig against them. And Fury's constantly hammering him down. Revenant X Park, 8 finish points already accumulated. There is Likitha Esports on the left, and Likitha now trying to play the big game. They've got the circle control, and they will try to punish the players of Revenant X Park, try to choke them slowly and steadily.
Smoker tried that as well, trying to find that one unaware member of RNTX, but Sensei is smart. He understands that. He was able to send Fears all the way back to make sure that that does not happen, so that he could focus on the fight with VS right now. And guess what? Owais is the man who eventually finds Magic. Victorious, they are still standing strong, but this chicken seems inevitable for Revenant X Park.
Victorious. It's so unfortunate for Likitha Esports that now they're caught in the crossfire of Victorious and Revenant X Park at the same time. And Keep this thing in mind. Revenant X Park, they've still got the man advantage. Victorious is down to a two-man squad. Likitha Esports is down to a two-man squad. And Revenant X Park, they've got all the players standing on the block. One mistake from Victorious can instantly eliminate them from this game. And Revenant X Park currently just controlling the tempo of this entire final game.
The shots being called perfect, the decisions being made impeccable right now. Revenant, this is their game to lose, to be honest. They've got everything that they need, including an airdrop, which they've just looted. Hopefully that gave them the burger of rupees just 99 that you can actually order on Swiggy.
Yeah. But I guess with the way the intensity and the heat's rising up, maybe they need the Bisleri water bottle. That's going to help them a little bit more to keep them hydrated.
Probably.
Revenant X Park. This high ground, it's now starting to create a lot of problems for Likitha Esports. Someone needs to take the throne away from Revenant X Park. Someone needs to dethrone them. Likitha getting constantly tapped away. That chip damage, it's a bit too much. And Likitha Esports, they will eventually crack, as they've been eliminated from this game on the third spot. But there is still Victorious with two men standing in alive. Victorious, a 2v4 to be executed against Revenant X Park. And look at the way Revenant X Park is now starting to create some flank. They want to create a bit of a crossfire within themselves so that Victorious won't stand a chance to win this game. And now the players are getting picked off. They can't even stand a chance anymore.
Hold on.
Cheyenne still behind the tree. He's all by himself against the three men standing off Revenant X Park as he finds another knock against Fierce. Oh boy, Cheyenne, hold on. This man has always been the dark horse. He's always someone that can be the burning torch of hope. And this time, he's the burning torch of hope for his boys always. But unfortunately, it's not enough. As Revenant X Park, they had too much control and too much power over that last zone.
I mean, perfect timing being called from Sensei. Every single time you see, he's the man who leads his team now, rendezvousing back with Fierce in this lineup, and they start off with a bang.
The history goes all the way back in 2023 when this man used to be a part of Revenant Esports next to Fierce. And he also had MJ and Apollo inside of the lineup. MJ and Apollo are not a part of Revenant Esports anymore, but Fierce and Sensei, they have somehow managed to find their way back in Revenant X Park now in 2025. And they have kicked things off in the BGMI Master Series with an absolute bang.
History has basically been the witness of this man. Every single time when it's about time for the Master Series, he makes sure his boys perform at least in the league stages, and they perform impeccably. That's the best part about him.
Sensei, he needs to perform. He's got no other chance, no other shot. Before now, let's move on towards the stage for a quick interview with the boys of Revenant X Park.
जिंदगी में कुछ भी हो जाए, किसी ने सही बोला है कि आगाज अगर सही हुआ तो अंजाम भी सही होगा. And iQOO Revenant X Park have picked up their first chicken dinner. और वहां से अब भाई को समझ आ रहा है कि भाई से बात करनी है. Sensei is here. ये नाम जो है वो नया है, लेकिन कारनामे और काम जो है वो पुराने हैं.
बिल्कुल हाँ, और ये नाम भी बहुत पुराना है, लेकिन अभी रिसेंटली नया जुड़ा है तो काफी अच्छा फील हो रहा है मुझे.
यार आपने पिछले 2 सीजन क्वालिफाई नहीं किया था, लेकिन इस बार स्टार्टिंग से ही चिकन लिया है. सोच बदली है या जस्ट डू द थिंग्स दैट यू हैव बीन डूइंग? इस बार शायद किस वजह चमकेगी?
देखो मैं ऑनेस्टली बोलूं, जैसे हमारा चिकन आया मुझे बड़ा खराब लगा, क्योंकि हमारे सीजन 2 में पहले गेम चिकन, देन फिर हम बाहर हुए थे, तो हमें इस चीज़ का थोड़ा ऐसा था कि इस बार भी पहले गेम चिकन. लेकिन देखते हैं, होप फॉर द बेस्ट. एंड आई थिंक नई टीम है, नए प्लेयर्स हैं, नया खून है, नया जोश है, तो अच्छा ही होगा जो होगा.
सेंसे, तुम भी यहाँ पे 4 साल से हो, मैं भी यहाँ 4 साल से हूँ. ये नाम जो है रेवेनेंट एक्स पार्क, इस नाम के साथ एक प्रेशर वाला टैग है. क्या आप उस प्रेशर को अब झेलने के लिए तैयार हैं? बिकॉज ऑलरेडी फर्स्ट स्टेप टुवर्ड्स दैट चिकन डिनर यू हैव टेकन.
प्रेशर तो उतना नहीं है, क्योंकि जो बॉडी में जो सेंस करता है प्रेशर, वो मेरे कब के डेड हो चुके हैं. तो आई थिंक प्रेशर मुझे अब उतना फील नहीं होता. लेकिन हाँ, एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ है, क्योंकि बहुत सारे जो सपोर्टर्स हैं, फैंस हैं, ओनर है, मैनेजमेंट है, उन सब का एक एक्सपेक्टेशन है हमसे कि हम अच्छा खेले, तो उन्हीं के लिए करना है जो करना है.
एक मार्क का क्वेश्चन है. वी गोइंग टू गो टू द ब्रेक. आईना देख कैसा लगा? विंटेज सेंसे इज बैक.
नो
अभी वक्त बाकी है. We take a break. Game 2 is coming up on the other side.
we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day for OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back after that short break, and that seems like Winter Sensei isn't back yet, but he still kicked things off on a funny note, so you got to give it to him.
I mean, every single time whenever it's, the conversation of the league week, at least 1 and 2, Sensei has always been performing up notch with his team. But that's where the main things are. Like in week 1, week 2, yes, but then it eventually dies down in week 3 and week 4. But at least all's well that starts well as well. That's probably things that happen for him.
Well, let's just cross our fingers and hope that this form is going to be there consistently. But hey, once again, something that is going to be there consistently is going to be Google Play Protect. It's going to keep your apps and data safe. So one thing is for sure, do check it out. But once again, back towards the conversation that we're having right now, let's have a look at the MVP of that previous game. It's going to be Fierce from Revenant X-Park with 4 finishes and the finish contribution of 36-36, which is quite solid, honestly. I mean, it's not a lot of finishes, but still, if you overall combine the entirety of Revenant X-Park's finishes, now that's quite a bit.
Yeah, somewhere around 9, 10, maybe 11. But yeah, that's a pretty solid number out there being poked up. Rest of the members as well. Rescue is going in for 2, so that's going to be the best companion for Delta, all the way from the side of God's Train. You mentioned about Justin as well from that team when they were taking that fight, but it did not really go in their favor. Delta definitely tried his level best, and again, the finishing blow went in for Trace God. They were making sure that, Victorious are never going to at least get the taste of that victory for the first one. Let's see if this eventually turns out like a very good push, or if it ends up being one of the big curses that he mentioned.
But honestly speaking, since it's just a game 1, I still believe if you manage to finish anywhere near top 5, it's still quite a great standing that you've managed to achieve, right? Since we know this entire league stage is going to be lasting for 21 days, and then the top 4 move on towards the grand finals. Out of those 21 days, it's just the first game done and dusted. And in that standing, if they have managed to achieve the top 5 finish, it is quite a great way to kick things off.
Yeah, and right now, as we're having a look at the OnePlus Never Settle moments as well, the entire highlights of the previous game, you can clearly see that, throughout that game, at least there was not a lot of action in the first circle, and then teams eventually started to get filtered out as they were on their rotations as well. I'd have to say, this is one of those unique circles which we don't really see instantly, but having a look at the match rankings, 21 points in total, pretty decent, done job for Revenant X-Park and rest of the members too on the other end. Now, there's a humongous gap between the first 2 and the rest of the teams.
Yeah, I mean, Victorious 2 getting 15 points right there. And then True Rippers getting 8 points just off of the finish points. Now, that is quite impressive, too. Yep. You've also got FS Esports with 8 points in total. Team Aryan getting 7 points. Whichever team that managed to get more than 5 points, it's quite a decent start for you. Now, teams under the 5 points, okay, it's fine. It's just the first game. You're still trying to test the waters. In the second game, you better get things rolling for you.
TWOB, NINZA, these are the 2 teams who have always been talked about. Or rather, TWOB having some of those members which are eventually making their comeback into this entire series too. We used to see them previously, but I really am expecting a lot of more things now. But here's the thing. For the teams of Group A, this is literally half match done. Only half of the day remains for them.
Exactly, right. Now, at the end of the day, they've got one more matchup to try and prove themselves. Let's hope that they can do that better. But for now, it's time for us to toss to a short break before we move on to the upcoming game.
R is for RAM on roids. A 12 gigabyte ramped up, run on all engines, upgraded in a world resigned to 8 gig. Ridiculously ripped. Raise the stakes with a ruthless dozen. Ready to raid. Write faster, roll smoother. Reach higher with a refuse to die battery. Every app, every activity. Rep, 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 rep. If it's in your radius, R keeps it on rotation. OnePlus 13R. R is ours.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen. Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Radar, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born, they practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
We're just a few moments away before we hop in on the map of Miramar, and the first game was taken pretty well. But this time around, if REVENANT Spark is not able to continue the form in the second game, then already a lot of questions will start to rise up in our minds, let's be honest. But teams like Team Aryan, with a lot of potential, they were not able to do that great in the first game. Yes, they got decent bit of points, but decent is not enough for an outstanding team.
I mean, that's the whole thing now. But you could say the potential has been set up so very high for them that they really need to perform over that. If it's anything under that, then it eventually comes down to them not being able to play to their full potential. But since we've already been on that topic, right, the first game already done and dusted of Erangel between Group A and B. This is the last game for Group A team, so they'll have to focus. They'll have to make sure that this one is absolutely worth it. FS, Medal, both of them really a bit on that struggling end. Reckoning, yeah, Los Hermanos. There are so many teams who would need to pull their socks up.
Exactly, but something that's going to help you pull your socks up is also going to be the OnePlus 13R. Let's not forget that Aqua Touch 2.0. If you've got sweaty hands, there's going to be no slips and no misses either. It will help you be as precise as possible inside of the game, and also comes in with one of the strongest chipsets out there, Snapdragon 8 Series Generation 3. That's going to give you buttery smooth experience every single time you play BGMI.
I mean, I'd really want to grab my hands on that phone, but I don't know if I'd be able to sit with all the players out there. They're just absolutely goated in terms of their own gameplay, right? But since we're already on that topic now, we knew that Orangutan is in an absolute reckoning form. But this time it seems like they locked in horns with another big demon of Nakul and the boys. And Nakul and the boys eventually came out on top. Yes, they incurred some injuries as well and eventually succumbed to some other team while they were on their own way for the rotation too. But now since we'll be moving on to the map of Miramar, we know Sensei likes to call out here. We also know Orangutan, they kind of perform pretty decent on this map.
So here's the thing. Seoul eliminating OG definitely has to be the highlight of the first game. OG, since they have been in such an immaculate form, that form was not able to transition, at least in the first game of the BGMS Season 4. Now, this can be the start to the demise of OG's form, because the moment you play the first game, and if things do not really work out for you, there's a big chance you might start overthinking. We did see OG's cameras after the elimination, and clearly the players were not happy with that. They had a lot of questions in their minds.
They were disappointed. We could clearly see Aru and iQOO talking, and I'm pretty sure that they were discussing as to why iQOO was just so far away. Because that's kind of the supporter role that Atanki normally plays for the team, and not really AK, but maybe they're trying to mix a few things out here. Even in one of the previous third-party events, we saw AK sometimes take that stance where he is the man who's all the way in the back lines, but the man who's all the way up in front and the team who's actually got to perform will be Scout and the boys.
I guess Masa will be Scout. Because Scout is there in the playing field. So Masa will be Scout. It's different name. Well, maybe the man was feeling fruity, so we just put up that name. But without wasting any more time, we just straight up move on towards the second game for Group A and B, which will be played on the map of Miramar. As the plane's going to be hitting the skies once again, starting all the way from Minas del Sur. It's going to be going all the way towards Impala. Now, this plane fly path, it's tilted heavily to the southern side of the map. If the teams that want to move on towards the northern side, man, it's going to be a tough stretch.
Oh my god, you talk about teams who like to drop towards El Pozo, El Azhar. Yeah, good luck. Hacienda del Petron, one of the favorite hot drop shots for a lot of teams out there. They'll eventually have to take those vehicles, and we have known Miramar to be one of such a slow map with no early fights. Hopefully that's not going to be the case this time, right? But there's one team that I'm actually absolutely missing right now. The team that would always drop towards Los Leones, Juicy and the boys, Cincinnati kids. Not here right now, so any potential clash between him and Sensei, yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah, well, it was anyways never a proper battle between those teams, right?
True.
They would drop in towards Los Leones, loot up peacefully, and then go their own merry way. So we never really saw a proper clash between them. And since we know Cincinnati Kids isn't a part of MS, instead they will be seen in the Challenger Series.
Yeah.
So hopefully they will be back from the Challenger Series in the playoffs.
Hopefully, but still, there's a lot of big names out there as well, right? The ex-roster of REVENANT Spark.
Yeah.
Sarang, Shadow, Ninja, the boys. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'd be fighting tooth and nail to try and get up on top. But what is this circle? It's an absolute centric shift. We are not going to see any fights in the power play unless some teams are eventually caught while picking up the vehicles, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, True Rippers right next to FS Esports once again. Is it going to be a bad start for the boys? It does seem like it. True Rippers, they want to hunt them down, and FS Esports, Roman and the boys spotted by True Rippers.
Running
Unfortunately for Kyo, he's got no weaponry to try and disrupt that flow, to try and stop them in the tracks. So for the players of FS Esports, it will be a smooth glide out of this spot. True Rippers really wanted to claim those power play points, but now they can't anymore. Which is quite unfortunate if you think about it. FS Esports, there is one man split apart. And if his position gets compromised, FS Esports will already be a three-man squad.
Yeah.
Which will be another bad start for FS Esports.
Could be a problem out there, as you mentioned. They'll have to make sure that this time that does not happen. Even in the previous game, they lost a couple of members early on, right? And then the rest of the two members were the ones who eventually tried to take and win out that fight right now as TWOB again on the receiving end. Maybe this time Middle can stand up. Maybe this time the man can stand up onto his name. But it's still Mac, still holding strong. Pukar low in the HP. Wants to try and get some of the confirmation. Ruin the game of the team. But hold on, Pukar. Alright. He's making sure to try and punish the members of Middle. But can he give the rest to his members?
It just blows the fact that TWOB, they were the one to crash on. But now the fact that they've only got two men standing inside of this fight, it has turned out to be pretty awkward. There's also OG that's slamming towards this compound. They want to third party this, but even OG, they're now hurt. Phantom, he does not have a lot of bullets in the magazine for his EKM. He's only got 26 bullets, and he needs to make each and every single bullet count. While on the opposite side, OG, they're stacked up on everything. They've got a lot of ammunition, maybe lacking up on those utilities, but still it's fine. Things can be brought under control, and AKOP already kicks things off on a fiery note. That shotgun's going to be able to find the first knockout. TWOB in a big world of trouble, and they might not be able to fight back anymore, but hold on! Two players struck down by Mac. That's a humongous play. OG down two men. But luckily enough, they do get things under control since AKOP is there once again to save the day.
Big one coming in. It almost seemed like maybe this could be possible because Atanki was nowhere near the boys to save the day. That was a big, big problem which eventually will continue for Anonymous on the other side. They'll be on that receiving end as well. A bit of problems coming in, but still, OG are hurt. OG are bruised. So NoNx can eventually try and maybe take them down.
NoNx wanted to take the advantage, but unfortunately turned into a disadvantage now. NoNx lost out on a man. Metal Esports, they've lost out on 3 players, and Scout is the only man. Or I guess Scout was just swapped in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Masambi was
someone else.
The 5th one. Scout eventually hopped in right now. But the thing is, OG members, a couple of them are low, but they're finally fixing themselves up. And the longer they stand, the big problem on the ball of trouble would be for NoNx right now. Up on their face. Problem stunned up, fully flashed out. Wizgod, not really the play that you stand up onto your name for. As NoNx are dismantling the apes, and what a way to kick things for them.
NoNx, 2 men still standing. But they've only managed to convert 1 finish point. Since they're doing this in the power play, that's going to be counted as 2 points in total. Scout OP now, he makes his entrance inside of the house. He does find the first knockout. Wanted to go for the confirmation, but he instantly gets denied. And that's going to be it for Metal Esports. NoNx claiming 3 elimination points in the power play. And since we know it is the power play, those will be 6 points. But hold on to that thought. AKOP, this man is not done yet. OG, they've secured so many points. 7 finishes so far. In the power play, they will be doubled up and make that 8. Oh, boy. AKOP, 6 finishes all by himself. Once again, a monstrous form carried. This man, he's not a human. He's a demon.
The form that continued from the previous event is now finally back up. And if he does this, yeah, good luck surviving him. I don't think so. OG will eventually mind trying to survive in the last circle. They're like, you know what? We'll take all the fights that we can get in the first power play. We'll try to get as many finish points as possible. And guess what? AK is just going to do the job for us so that we have more points than the second placing team in the first map of Erangel.
OG has 8 finishes.
16 points.
That's 16 points. Oh my god. If OG gets eliminated right now, they're still fine. They've got a lot of points. And that right there was a cover-up for the previous game too. But hold on. Likitha Esports. Oh no, problems now start to rise for them. And Revenant X Park this time around, they amp up the aggression by a teeny tiny bit. Look at the Esports, they wanted to punish the players of OG since they're extremely hurt. But now look at the Esports, they've also got to worry about the players of Revenant X Park. And there goes 2 finishes on the court of Revenant X Park. Unfortunately for Sensei, the man ended up exposing himself a bit too much. Revenant X Park, to surprise factor, it's not there in the game anymore. They know that Revenant X Park is pulled up close, and Trace also falls down. It's AKOP from the back, consistently striking and instilling his fear in the opponent's heart. Sensei confirmed. Oh no, it's such a bad way to kick things off inside of the fight for Revenant X Park after a chicken dinner in the previous game. But now for Revenant X Park, they need to make sure that every single step they take inside of the game, it's got to be the best.
At least one good thing is that Fury confirmed a couple of players before he eventually fell down to Viper of Reckoning. That's one big thing happening out there for the team. And yeah, 10 more seconds remaining for the power play. That means they were double points. So they should be happy by getting something instead of nothing right now, as Max also is looking in the surroundings. He wants to try and catch the rest of the members out there. AKOP and Aru, both of them out here. 9 finishes already for this team. All of that in power play. 18 freaking points for them. Get them 2 more eliminations. They're going to hit a 20 bomb.
And imagine if they end up securing the chicken dinner with just a 2-man squad.
Hey, listen.
Now that right there is a nuclear performance.
Come on. Please. Come on.
I know I'm asking for a bit too much, but imagine if it does happen. That right there would be the best possible way to kick things off. We were having a conversation about OG having a bad start, but this is the way you're supposed to cover up for it. And OG, they're doing it perfectly well. Aru in the back, tosses out a nade in the hopes of finding the first knock. But that opener is still not being found.
A man wanted to find an opening to try and run out of there, though, but AK eventually found the first knockout there. Jumping on the other side. Haru, hold on. Oh, they've got no information about this dude. Eventually jump up and try and find one more. That could be a big problem.
He does have the angle, but he still cannot strike.
Almost.
And the only reason why the man really went back in that closet room, it's because he knew that Aru is trying to pull this shenanigan. Flock. He can sense a bit of that threat. Aru wants to waltz on over towards the opposite side. But the presence is holding him back from doing so. Reckoning Esports, even this team has taken heavy beating upon themselves. And note this down, the power play is not active anymore since the Stage 2 is live.
How fearsome you need to be that you're doing a 2v4 where you've already taken one player down, so now it's a 3v2, and still it's the other team who's scared to push you.
For some reason, Reckoning Esports, they just don't have the backup yet. Cavalry is still not arrived. With just a 2v2 in that particular compound. But I'm going to hold on to that thought because Victorious, they're getting absolutely dominated by God's Reign. Neo was knocked out, but Justin is there to try and keep things intact. And God's Reign, they've got a lot of problems in their hands, at least as of now. Mafia gets struck too, but God's Reign, they get eliminated from this game. So many teams getting eliminated in the first two stages. Now that's what we like to see in the BGMS Season 4.
It's only BGMS where all that early aggression is brought onto you right now as Aru falls down finally. AK still able to get one, hold on. Couldn't really get anything after that as Viper was eventually able to shut him down too. A lot of things happening, right? And True Rippers were right there. They wanted to go for the third party. The question is, will they be able to get the rest of the members out of this entire map? Flock is going to be healing himself back up, but the blue is going to do a decent amount of damage. And True Rippers have already decided to back off from that fight. They're all trying to go in over towards the graveyard now from the southern end. That's also where Aryan and Soul is.
True Rippers finding a bit of a standing. A bit of a spot inside of Picado. It's not in the safe zone yet, but at least it's a spot True Rippers can count on. Now it's time for them to make it inside of the safety lines. To push themselves towards the safety spot. And once again, True Rippers, they had quite a solid of a start in the first game. Had a lot of elimination points to themselves. And with that sort of a performance as a team, you really do boost up your confidence.
Since you're talking about boosting things up, right? I believe, well, that's definitely going to boost up our mood as well, side by side, that you can get just for 99 on Swiggy.
Hold on to that thought, NINZA. These guys are constantly tapping away. First game wasn't that great. It's time to convert the second game into a good one. Meta NINZA. Once again, as usual, they found themselves a decent spot inside of the circle. That's how they like to play. And that's what they're exactly doing. Contesting the middle of the zone. Playing it to seal the deal and get that chicken dinner. But I still believe power play is something you should take the advantage of. You should go for the fights no matter what. If you think a team is weak, they're not doing good, push. Get those points. Those can be free frags for you.
I'm pretty sure I know what you're about to say out there, right? But, you know, we have an idea that there would still be some teams who would try to protect themselves from all of those aggressors, just like how Google Play protect your data and your apps absolutely safe from all the malwares that are out there. Make sure you protect your data and apps as well with the exact same. Shout out to Android for that. But coming back onto this game, I 100% agree that, yeah, teams should use that power play, just like how AKOP utilized that. Because,
oh man,
19 points in the first circle, and then we're out, we're chilling, we're drinking our Red Bulls. Boy, I'm in.
That's already a ton of points they've managed to convert. Team Aryan, even they're sitting with 0 points. Team Aryan is also one of those potential teams who does have a decent bit of experience now. And in my opinion, that experience needs to be converted towards a bit more of aggression.
Yeah.
But we're not seeing that so far. Team Aryan's playing a little bit too laid back.
True.
Not pushing up, not taking matters in their own hands. They do have a decent bit of territory control, but there's a big chance the zone's not going to move towards that area. I personally think the zone's going to move bottom right, where the open lands are there. And Reckoning Esports, hold on. True Rippers locking their horns against Reckoning. But Reckoning Esports, the place where they have went to find shelter, it's not so safe after all. There's one team already camping on that spot. It will be Seoul. Joker, Knuckle next to each other, trying to make a dent against the players of Reckoning Esports. But Reckoning Esports, they were already broken in half by the previous squad fight that happened against OG. And Seoul, now they reunite once again to try and stop the entirety of Reckoning Esports that's left over inside of the game. What happened to Legit? Eventually, there is a bit of that backup from Joker. That's going to save Legit. But he was too exposed. Things could have been worse. And luckily enough for Seoul, they're not even going to break a sweat as they eliminate the Remainants. Or maybe there's still one more man standing in the back lines. What is Viper doing? He actually strikes back. Hold on. Seoul, they're fumbling up, and now even True Rippers, they close up to go for the third party, and Viper, he strikes another man down, does not have any bullets in the DBS, so he will be eliminated. But Seoul, oh boy, their game spoiled. I thought they were done for, but somehow there was still Viper standing from Reckoning, and he struck back like no one else ever did.
My goodness, that's absolutely crazy, Viper, and yes, no one saw that coming. You could say, watch out, watch out, watch out. But yeah, no one eventually watched him out though as he RKO'd Seoul out of this lobby. But then again, True Rippers showing up for the third party. I've always mentioned that Jelly is the third party king whenever it comes down to it. Considering this new form, this new zone meta that's been happening, I'll have to say, right, even in one of the previous events, we saw him doing almost the exact same thing. Even right now, he's been trying to do the exact same thing. But you wanted some aggression from Arjun?
Yeah.
There we go.
Third party king, getting third partied out of this game.
Fourth party.
Technically, if you think about it, that's salt on top of the wounds.
I agree.
Yeah.
Taste of his own medicine,
I guess. But you know what? Team Aryan, I believe they can do a lot more. It still feels like Team Aryan, they're thriving for control. They're playing for control. But in BGMS, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be extremely aggressive. Take advantage of the format. Take advantage of the power-ups that you're provided. And build up that lead in the overall standings, just like what OG is going to do in the upcoming days.
We can never keep the apes out of the conversation, can we?
Of course we can.
I'd rather we do not. The greatest entertainment was provided all the way back in Season 2.
Without a doubt, at one point, separating them from one CR. Let's not talk about that. That will be another salt on top of the wound moment. But Team Aryan, they've got a decent bit of control, and my zone prediction was not too great. That's why I'm not a professional.
Went in the exact opposite direction where you thought it would go, so...
Yeah.
Aryan now are kind of finding themselves on a pretty solid ground, right? They've got a decent amount of high ground as well, considering the amount of real estate they have on the eastern cliffs of San Martin. Should provide them good amount of vision, information, while rest of the teams would eventually put themselves in trenches below to try and get some cover, where they will eventually find each other. Los Hermanos, FS, just down south of them, Marcos Gaming, who also had a pretty bad game in the previous one, so they would want to try and at least make up for it this time.
IG Los Hermanos. Yeah, they are one of those teams with a lot of potential, but let's have a look at the replay on exactly what Reckoning Esports did there. The moment Reckoning Esports lost that first player, I thought Reckoning Esports was done for. The man inside of the church as well, he's not going to stand a chance. but the moment I said so, Viper somehow got a boost of energy, and he just decided to obliterate the team was standing in front of him, and he was also taking shots against the third-party Kings, True Rippers.
Almost got that one player out of that as well. If only his burst would have connected to the second one as well, pretty sure True Rippers would have been done for two. He was absolutely in zone. He was feeling it. The flow state that we talk about, which OG have been in since the past 1 month now.
Well, I hope they don't flow away in the flow state. We've seen that happen with a lot of teams.
That is
and
true.
Revenant Xbox X lineup was one of those, getting 2 official trophies, and after that they just flew away in the flow state. And then they were never seen.
So much so that now they're in the Challenger Series.
Yeah. Well, technically, if you talk about it, Challenger Series is not something that is made for weak teams. No, absolutely not. Challenger Series is something that's made for teams with a lot of potential that can be here and prove themselves and have a shot at lifting the trophy. Victorious Sumus with the 3 men. 4 finishes acquired. I wonder if any of those finishes were acquired in the power play. I think they definitely were. And Victorious, if all those 4 finishes that they've gotten were acquired in the power play, now that's quite a decent start they've gotten. I did see Victorious in one of the fights third-partying in the power play itself. But I'm not exactly sure how many eliminations they got in the stage 1. Marcos Gaming currently under fire, under heavy suppression from Victorious. Utilities tossed out to try and at least find the first. Yeah, but Marcos Gaming, they're playing this extremely safe. I mean, it's not the best spot you can ask for, especially coming in from Marcos Gaming, but it is still something that they can rely upon. But Victorious, they've got different plans. Maybe trying to backstab them, maybe create a different angle, and that's what Victorious is trying to do.
To be honest, they can't really move a lot away out there as well. Down south of Victorious, there's also True Rippers, who eventually ruined the game in the previous one too. And also Marcos, you mentioned that their squad is not really the best. I agree. The backs are entirely open, and Los Hermanos Shadow still standing there.
The only problem I see for Marcos Gaming is their escape route. There's none. They're just lying prone out in the open. Vehicles exploded. Nothing to save the day for them. The vehicles are going to provide them cover, but not something that is extremely needed from the vehicles, which is quick transport. And that is something that cannot be there.
But one good thing is that they don't really need the vehicles to travel right now, since they are right on the edge of another circle. Exactly. So it already stayed 6, right? So once this circle shifts, that's when we'll see a lot of fights break out on the edges. All they need to do is wait for Los Hermanos and Victorious Sumus to start their own fights. While on the other side, FS Lovish is the man who's making sure that he knows the position of the Los Hermanos boys. But Adrian are the ones who've got to face the wrath of Levi, Shadow, and Gods.
Team Aryan playing this game extremely calculated. The official tournament where Team Aryan won, NoNx was on the 2nd spot, which is now, of course, known as FS Esports. Marcos Gaming, hold on to that thought. True Rippers, they're doing something completely else. They're taking a lot of shots against Victorious Sumus, and Victorious now under heavy beatdown. Cheyenne, the man's isolated all by himself. Utilities now tossed against Cheyenne, and he's the only one inside of smoke. No cavalry, no backup available. And since he was a lone warrior, he will be eaten alive, devoured by True Rippers.
Seems like it was all the way out down there from the army of Troy with Hector in front of him. Couldn't really stand up. Blown to smithereens. And this is exactly what I mentioned. True Rippers down on south of them should eventually pose a threat, which Victorious did not even realize. And right now, FS are the ones who are caught between a rock and a hard place. Arden up in front, Los Hermanos on their back. They can't take a single fight freely, but at least they've got Devotee out of here as well. Some shots still being fired, back and forth trades coming in. Cyrex down on his knees, who needs to be picked up as Adrian himself tries to run out of that place. Bucky almost about to be exploded, but At least his boys are still standing up.
Team Aryan's been playing extremely passive. They haven't been taking a lot of unwanted risk. They have been trying their best to keep themselves pinned down towards one spot and play for as much control as possible. But now Team Aryan, they've lost out on Devotee. And for some reason, it is always Devotee that gets taken down first. It's not just about this tournament. Even the past tournaments they've played in, Devotee always gets taken down first. And they need to find a cure to this problem. Because the moment a man who packs a lot of punch gets taken down from your roster, gets taken down from your team, that's a lot of firepower instantly deducted on the spot.
I agree.
And you need that. You need every single bit of it to conquer the grounds.
Right now, all the grounds that they wanted to conquer have been moved away from them. Right in the center of the circle lies down a drop, and every single one of the teams are on the edges. The only team that's pretty solid currently is probably NINZA, as Aryan will have to take this fight, both against FS and then also against Los Hermanos. We're playing with a split right now. A 2-2 split all the way up north, entire territory. Full-fledged in their control as Levi Nade is able to find one. And as I mentioned, Spy from Los Hermanos was able to put in his own effort in that previous fight. But Entry, he cannot stand in longer. Lovish answers back from the compound. He survives. And a revenge from the previous official tournament being served right here.
It's quite unfortunate getting third-partied by Los Hermanos like that in this fight. They never saw this coming. And somehow Lovish, he's the man who stands alive. He's the man who stays alive. Team Aryan getting sandwiched between these two teams. Aryan had all the right to win the fight against FS Esports, but just because of that third party from MyG Los Hermanos, everything just went crumbling down. True Rippers on the screen. And now they're taking a fight against Marcos Gaming. They've already found Superman. Two more players lie in the back. Marcos Gaming trying their best to fight back. True Rippers, intentions are clear. They want to eliminate the entirety of Marcos Gaming, take their spot, and then think about the future. But fighting against Marcos Gaming is tough. Marcos Gaming isn't really someone that's taken any unwanted risk. They're playing as safe as they can, keeping their heads tucked down. But True Rippers, the only way to win the fight is to straight up slam their vehicles against Marcos Gaming. But then there's also a potential third-party chance, which True Rippers really does not really want to happen.
That's the main problem. Los Hermanos, just north of them. They've been creating problems, and it's not just them now. NINZA all the way down south. That's the most important thing. NINZA, a couple of players all the way over towards the southwestern part, and then a couple of players, including Beard Baba. Just a bit on southeastern, trying to create a lot of problems for True Rippers. Shots being fired. They're still trying to find one, though, but that smoke blocks off the entire vision as Hydra falls down.
Oh, no.
Big problem.
True Rippers down to a two-man squad. One man still knocked out. If they get the revival, they will be back up as a trio. But is that enough to seal the deal and get the game?
Question mark.
It might not be. NINZA, they've got all the 4 players in store. And these 4 players, they're just waiting to be unleashed. Just waiting for that right moment to spread themselves out and start striking down foes. True Rippers. Luckily enough, that trio's back. They've managed to get the revival on towards Hydra. Beard Baba falls down. Unfortunate way to get taken down like that, but I'm not exactly sure what Beard Baba was doing in that angle. The man was playing with a lot of risk. True Rippers.
I mean, Lovish has been doing, he's been pulling a lot of shenanigans out there, dude.
Yeah.
Eliminating Los Hermanos as well as the last player surviving from FS. He's been nasty at that.
Lovish still behind the rock. The Blues on the move. It will do a lot of damage this time around. It's also the final stage of the game, so everyone needs to buckle up and try and get as close as possible to the center. Dragon OP has already moved up. Lovish, he gets eliminated by the play zone. NINZA, they do have a bit of an advantage if you think about it. but still, True Rippers can anytime snatch away this game. There's also Marcos Gaming, but they're not playing like the Alphas. They're being pushed in a corner, dominated by True Rippers, but True Rippers themselves are getting dominated by NINZA. But now the moment I say so, NINZA, they're getting stopped in tracks. One more man standing for them. Can Dragon OP, the IGL himself, save the day? Dragon OP has no intentions to fight. Instead, he moves on towards his knocked teammates to give the revival. And True Rippers, they know the sidelines are not clear either. There is Marcos Gaming in the side, and Marcos can strike anytime. Harsh gets knocked to the play zone, and that's going to be it for True Rippers. NINZA, they get a second chance to life. But it's just Marcos Gaming that's going to be in their way. NINZA. Dragon OP's taken down extremely low. A Groza in the hands of Bad OP. He's not able to find anything. He's not able to find the strike. NINZA with the man advantage, just waiting to clinch their fists.
No heals.
And get this chicken dinner. Bad OP. Oh boy, you can feel the man's heart pumping out through his chest. There is still Naughty in the sidelines. And he's constantly just crawling. Bad OP's trying to gather all the attention upon himself. As Naughty, he's crawling as close as possible to the zone. NINZA, problems starting to arise. Utilities tossed out from Marcos Gaming. Those explosives are not finding any connections. And luckily enough for NINZA, they find a revival on towards Reaper. Now it's down to just Naughty. The final man of Marcos Gaming. He pulls out the shotgun. Does get the first knock.
Oh!
Finds the second one as well. Now he needs to take down Dragon OP. But that will not be possible. Gets overwhelmed by the numbers of NINZA. As he will be eliminated in the end. And NINZA, as usual, they bounce back in style.
Marcos Gaming almost pulling it all the way up for themselves in that last stand. Naughty and Bad, absolutely insane, and I'd have to say his name is ironic because he was good as hell out there. But finally, Dragon and the boys clinching their own hands at that winner chicken dinner as well. An important one indeed coming in. And that too with pretty decent amount of finishes too. They almost dropped the ball a couple of times out there in the last few fights, and both of those times, one of them was against True Rippers. The second time, Bad almost pulled on a nasty play, but eventually they were able to pull their players back up because of the hard covers they had.
But being honest, this was one of the most disconnected games. This was one of the most unorthodox games I've seen so far.
True.
Action happened in such a weird way, and all of the action was completely unplanned. Third parties happened, and we were seeing, even in the final few moments, True Rippers, the way they were taking the fights, it just felt like they were just trying to go with the flow.
It did seem a bit of a problem out there, ladies and gentlemen. But guess what? All of those problems will be discussed after this break. Don't go anywhere.
R is for RAM on roids. A 12GB ramped up, run on all engines, upgraded in a world resigned to 8 gig. Ridiculously ripped. Raise the stakes with a ruthless dozen. Ready to raid. Write faster, roll smoother. Reach higher with a refuse-to-die battery. Every app, every activity. Rep, 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 rep. If it's in your radius, R keeps it on rotation. OnePlus 13R. R is ours.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back after that short break, and now I've got someone else joining with me on the desk. It's going to be Shadow. Shadow, how do you feel? BGMS Season 4, I'm pretty sure you were not there for the first 2 games, but you were sitting back in the back lines looking at the games, and we've got quite the aggressive start. OG in this second game, man, off the rip, they were the one to take the most advantage of the power play.
Especially iQOO, that man was on a roll the way he was taking those frags. The first game of Erangel didn't entirely go in the favor of OG, but my oh my, on the second game, iQOO was like, I'm going to redeem myself and I'm going to be the table topper. That man was fantastic. But along with that, Meta NINZA, the first game didn't go entirely in their favor, but the second game, they came on the top.
But hey, we'll continue the conversation. A huge shout out to Google Play Protect, which helps keep your apps and data safe. So I'd recommend you guys to move on and check it out. But the MVP of that previous game has to be iQOO. The most amount of finishes cracked by an individual. And 7 finishes racked up with 70% finish contribution. That is absolutely insane if you think about it. And every single elimination that this man was able to acquire, those eliminations were in the power play. That is insane.
Well, certainly he took the most advantage of the power play, and he also is the best companion with 3 rescues and 1 assist coming in. But the finisher is going to be from the side of Meta NINZA, and obviously he was the one to land the final last blow. And iQOO, the reason for the confidence is he has recently broken the curse, he has recently lifted a trophy, and I think he's feeling that momentum in this event as well.
Of course he's definitely feeling that momentum. It was not just a trophy lift, it was a record-breaking trophy lift. The amount of records this team was able to put up, no one is going to be able to break them down, at least for the upcoming 2 years, minimum. But yeah, one thing is for sure, iQOO, still that form is continued inside of the BGMS Season 4, and you clearly saw that, a little bit of a glimpse of that in this map of Miramar.
Well, certainly it was there from the stage 1 itself, but talking about the other teams, also Marco's Gaming, the first Erangel didn't go entirely in their favor. All they had was just 2 points, and this particular Miramar, they came so very close to getting that winner chicken dinner. So for Marco's Gaming also, it was a decent gameplay.
And let's not forget, Meta NINZA, once again, as usual, they like to be consistent. They like to be there in the final few moments of the game. And that's what they exactly did. Meta NINZA grabbing those 16 points. You've also got True Rippers right there with 12 points. True Rippers, this is the second game where True Rippers has decent amount of points. Even in the first game, True Rippers had a lot of eliminations and a decent bit of points. This one too, 12 points. That's a great average True Rippers working with. You've also got FS Esports. Finally, a decent game from the boys. 9 points apart in total.
Well, certainly for NoNx as well, 6 finishes to their name, standing on the 9th spot in the leaderboard. VS on the 10th with a total of 5 points. The first Erangel was better for VS as they were on the 2nd spot, but this time they are towards the 10th spot. But looking at the overall leaderboard, Revenant X Park, they are right on the top with total of 29 points.
And here's the main problem, right? Yeah, the top 8, of course, they've got a decent bit of start for themselves. Maybe not so much for Marco's Gaming and Los Hermanos, getting 11 points in the span of 2 games, especially when there's a few power-ups that can help you gain more points. They're not doing too hot for themselves, but it's just the first 2 games, so we can't really say a lot. The real problems and the real concerns will be seen on the second page the moment it switches, because on the second page, we've still got quite a few known names. Teams like God's Serene, who have not been able to perform in the first 2 games. We've also got Seoul, who we had a lot of expectations from, Metal Esports, TWOB, Likitha Esports, Reckoning Esports, Team Aryan. All these names are some of the most known names in the community, and they're not able to bring up the performance.
The most shocker is the God's Reign. OnePlus God's Reign sitting on the 16th spot is something no one would have anticipated. Just 5 points to their name. Even Team Seoul just having 6 points out of 6, 4-1 in the first Erangel. We thought in Miramar they're going to stage a comeback. But let's be honest, the misery of Seoul has been continuing in 2025. They have not been feeling themselves.
Yeah, of course they haven't been, right? And once again, for the viewers that are just tuning in, what do you exactly need to do in the overall standings? The goal is to be in the top 4 so you can directly qualify towards the grand finals of the Season 4 of BGMS. And if you're not able to place yourself in the top 4, if you manage to place yourself somewhere between 5th to the 12th spot, you can still qualify towards the semifinals, which is quite a massive leap. And the remaining teams do not get eliminated. Instead, they will move on towards the playoffs. So that's another thing that they can count on. But once again, we all know inside of playoffs, it's going to get real dirty. So it's something you would not want to be in. And playoffs will also eliminate a lot of teams.
Well, eliminations are always going to be there, but you have to make sure you are in the top 4. But the teams who are in the top 4, that itself is a big challenge, which will be revealed later on. So yes, it is not going to be easy to make it to the grand finals. It's going to be a very tedious task for all the teams.
Exactly. It will be a tedious task, but the upcoming game, the hopes will rise up once again. Expectations will be there too, but can the upcoming groups perform? We'll find out after this short break.
R is for RAM on roids. A 12 gigabyte ramped up, run on all engines upgraded in a world resigned to 8 gig. Ridiculously ripped. Raise the stakes with a ruthless dozen. Ready to raid. Write faster, roll smoother. Reach higher with a refuse to die battery. Every app, every activity. Rep, 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 rep. If it's in your radius, R keeps it on rotation. OnePlus 13R. R is ours.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Radar, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born, they practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
We're just a few moments away from heading inside of the third game of the day, where a new group now will be joining us. Group C will be a part of the action, where we'll see teams like 4TR, Genesis Esports, Mad Kings, 8-Bit, K9, and of course, one of the most important teams, or maybe you can't say one of the most fan-favorite teams, Godlike will also be a part of it, and Global Esports, the Season 1 winners. So one thing is for sure, Group C as well will bring in the heat that everyone's been waiting for such a long time.
Not just Season 1 winner Necro, I think Mane is also part of Global Esports, who was Season 3 winner when he was playing with the players of Team Soul. It was Mane, Ronnie, Nakul. Obviously, these guys are on the different orgs now. But Mane has already proved himself back in the Season 3. Maybe this time he can also lift the trophy. But Sanhok is going to be really important if we want to get those finish points.
He proved himself even in the Season 1 because he was a part of Global Esports when Global Esports ended up lifting the trophy in the BGMS Season 1. So one thing is for sure, Mane is probably looking to continue his streak and get that third trophy on the way too. As we know, the upcoming map is also going to be the map of Sanhok, where Group B and C will be a part of it. This one will be a little bit chaotic, since we know Sanhok really promotes a lot of early game action, and even the power play is going to be intact, and even the power play is also going to be there. So one thing is for sure, we might see a lot of action happen off the rip.
I totally agree to that. The first stage is going to be very chaotic, especially when it comes to Sanhok, because obviously the power play is going to award you double the finish points. So maybe we can see few drop clashes. If not the drop clashes, at least teams will try to cut off the rotations or try to breach into the compounds of the opponents, because that is how Sanhok is. And all the teams would love to take the full advantage of the power play on the map of Sanhok, especially the teams who are struggling in the leaderboard.
Of course. One team that is definitely not struggling, that's OG. This team is doing extremely good for themselves. And we all know, OG, there's someone who can bounce back anytime, even if they are struggling. So OG these days isn't really one of those teams that everyone is worried about, because we've seen a clear shift in the form of OG in the past couple of months, and it's been absolutely incredible. The teams that we're worried for has to be Soul, has to be Marcos Gaming, because their performance has been lacking a bit. They have been missing because they were seen in the latter half of the board. And even for teams like God's Reign, they need to start performing as well.
Yeah, God's Reign is one of those teams which back in the time were known as the trophy lifter, especially Destro. He was the guy lifting so many trophies, but recently he has been struggling a lot with the team. Maybe this time he needs to redeem himself from the day one itself, and Sanhok is going to be important for the players of God's Reign as well. But along with that, I think we need to appreciate the players of Team Revenant X-Park, because let's be honest, Sensei, when he was back in the Wild Fangs, he was also on the struggling side. But since he got a big winner chicken dinner in the very first game, I think he's up for a good start.
He did get the chicken dinner, but right in the second game, they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
So Revenant X Park, once again, it feels like the inconsistency to be back, and I hope that's not going to be a thing with them, at least this time around in the Season 4. Yeah, the first game was a chicken, second game was a bit of a miss, but the third game can always be a success. And there's a big chance Sensei will probably try to make it happen as well. We've got the OnePlus Never Settle moments on the screen of that previous game, and the first action that we saw was between the players of Metal Esports and TWOB. It was quite an uncalculated action, it was quite an unorthodox move from both these teams, but one thing is for sure, the equal damage was dealt.
Most certainly, the equal damage was there. Pucar was holding on to his grounds for a very long time, but Vizgod on the other side was able to do a lot of damage to the side of TWOB as well. TWOB, speaking about their performance, in the first Erangel, all they had was 0 points. So Miramar was of prime importance, and now the remaining games are also very important for this particular team. But Metal, even Scout also held his ground for a very long time.
He of course did. And then we saw the man AKOP step inside of the action, save the day for his teammates, and get a lot of those power play finishes for himself and his teammates. AKOP, once again, one of the most reliable players that you can have inside of OG, and it did not stop there. There was a third party from the side of Revenant X Park. They locked their horns against Likitha Esports, and then OG ended up destroying the entirety of Revenant X Park. For Revenant X Park, they were just found in a bit of a sandwich, and they could not do anything. Later on, Reckoning Esports moved on in a bit of a fight against the team that was right there in the front. True Rippers came through for the third party, and True Rippers were almost on the verge of getting destroyed, but luckily enough, they still held on.
Well, they definitely held on. True Rippers, especially Jelly, even Scared also mentioned this point. Jelly is one of the third-party kings. He knows how to do those third-party, but sometimes he also gets a taste of his own medicine, which really happened in the map of Miramar as well. So that's something which Jelly needs to be a bit cautious of, because we have seen in the past that Jelly loves doing those third parties, but not every single time he gets a success.
We did see Team Aryan 2 trying to play for control. They were trying their best to play as passive as possible, avoid that risk too, but in the end, Team Aryan got taken out as well. Yeah. So all that passive nature that they showcased throughout the game, which they could have used to amp up the aggression and maybe claim a few points early on, would have helped them a lot more in the overall standings. But since they were playing so passive off the rip, that were not a lot of points that they were accumulating in the Miramar map.
Even Naughty also from the side of Marco's Gaming Necro, he held on to his ground for a very long time. In the end, it looked like the chicken dinner might go in the favor of Marco's Gaming, but that last 1v1 duel really went in the favor of the players of Meta and NINZA. But kudos to the valiant effort of Naughty of Marco's Gaming.
I mean, in general, for Marco's Gaming, yeah, the previous finish was great. But overall, if you look at their placement too inside the circle, they were also relying heavily on the luck. They were just prone out in the open. The only cover they had were the overall vehicles that were there right in front of them. But later on, we all knew they were going to get pushed on by the players of True Rippers. There's a tough chance for Marco's Gaming to actually stand a chance and win the game. And that's what exactly happened. Marco's Gaming, they did not have proper cover. They were not able to win the game. But at least they did not let True Rippers win either.
Yeah, most certainly they didn't let the players of True Rippers win, but the next map of Sanhok is where you can't make those mistakes. You need those covers. One single mistake and Sanhok will be out of your hands.
But hey, you shout out to our sponsors, the Duolingo. The real winner picks a smarter test. Duolingo English test accepted by 6,000 plus universities. So I'd recommend you guys to check that out as well. And let us know, how was your English test?
I'm sure you're going to ace on that test.
Well, I'm pretty sure there will be a few things that I might be lacking, but yeah, getting back towards the game, I'm not really someone that's too good when it comes to studies, yeah, so I'm not really going to talk about that. Let's talk a little bit more about the teams that are on the screen, right? I'm speaking of Hero Extreme Godlike. Recently, their form's not been that great. Hero Extreme Godlike's been struggling too much, be it the third-party events, be it the official tournaments. Hero Extreme Godlike's not able to find that sweet spot. They have also went through a bit of those roster changes, and let's hope that this time around they've found that fine-tuning that they were looking for.
Maybe. Could be possible. Gods is also there in the roster of Hero Extreme Godlike, and since you mentioned the roster change is there, with the same roster, Hero Extreme Godlike in the past has also lifted a trophy. They came so very close to lifting a trophy as well. So yes, there is a possibility, and since we are talking about the players of Hero Extreme Godlike, we also need to talk about one of the players, S-Power, and he has always been the MVP no matter what.
Indeed has been. But it's time to head on towards the rainforests of Sanhok without wasting any time. The plane's going to be in the skies once again, starting all the way from high-octane towards the opposite side, which will be Lakawi. And since it's the map of Sanhok, the plane fly path barely makes a difference.
Yeah, the flight path doesn't matter, but the drop clashes do matter a lot. And since the power play is in the action, at least in the stage 1, so we can expect few early fights, few early casualties from all these teams. But for now, the players of OnePlus K9 going all the way towards the side of Camp Alpha, which has been their home ground since a very long time. But let's see if there is going to be any drop clash towards the side of Boot Camp or Paradise Resort, God's Reign. They love going towards the side of Paradise Resort since a very long time. And once again, they're completely uncontested. No one wants to go towards the side of Paradise. But seems like REVENANT X Park and Hero Extreme Godlike are in the close proximity.
Yeah. And inside of Group B and C, we've got 3 heavy fan favorite teams. 8-Bit, we've also got Soul and Godlike. And I'm pretty sure everyone has been waiting for this trifecta. And then you add on K9 in the mix. But hold on to that thought. A few teams who want to take the advantage of the power play. We've got Soul and NINZA fighting against each other off the rip. And you love to see the early game action every single time. Reaper getting stopped to NINZA. They're not done yet. They're still constantly fighting back. The man does not even have a weapon to try and defend himself. And he gets eliminated in the end. Soul, that was some quick work against NINZA. And that's going to be 8 points on the board instantly.
You wanted a comeback from the side of Team iQOO Soul, and here is the comeback. NINZA, we were talking about the consistency. They get a chicken dinner, and next moment, in the next map, they get picked off at the very start of the game.
And give away 8 points for Soul. A team that's been struggling in the overall standings since the start. Now these 8 points is going to help Team Soul elevate themselves, at least in the first half of the board. But once again, they've got 3 more men standing. And if they want, they can move on and get a bit more of the advantage of the power play.
Well, they certainly can. Already 4 finishes are already there in their backpack. But we also have a situation between the players of TWOB and Infinix Esports all the way to the side of Cow. This is going to be interesting since it's a big compound. So many flank angles can be generated. And seems like Pucar and Phantom could try to create those flank angles. And looking at the position of the players of Infinix Esports, if at all Ash or Owen gets taken down, the chances of rescue mission are very less.
Indeed are. TWOB on the screen against Infinix Esports. If these 2 teams do want to go for a fight, it needs to be now. It needs to be in the stage 1. At least they can take the full advantage of the power play. Infinix Esports is one of those teams that has a bit of that burst of life every now and then. Sometimes they're extremely good, sometimes they just mess things up. And hopefully this time is not the time where they mess things up. But the same thing can also be said for their rivals that are currently right next to them. TWOB. First 2 games weren't that great. But TWOB, now is the time to buckle things up and get those points for yourself. Godlike against REVENANT X Park. 2 fan favorite teams looking at ego clash. And once again, whoever gets even a single finish, that's going to count as 2 points. So I'm pretty sure Hero Extreme Godlike, they've got clear plans. They do want to eliminate at least 1.
Maybe more than 1. Punk has an idea that few of the players of REVENANT X Park are all the way towards the uphill and few players are towards the compound. He's just waiting for a confirmed information and an opening towards the side of REVENANT X Park. Godlike, they have got so much intel to work around with. But the main question is, are the players of REVENANT X Park have any sort of idea that Hero Extreme Godlike is keeping a close eye onto them? And not just on the compounds, but on the other players as well. Kind of a stalemate situation between the players of TWOB and Infinix Esports as well. Phantom's position is going to be so very important. If any of the player of Infinix Esports tries to come out in the open or goes for the right flank angle, Phantom can completely take advantage of it and at least get the first opening frag.
TWOB is playing this extremely passive. But this stalemate, it needs to be broken. At least in the power play. If the power play expires and then you're taking a fight, it's not going to be as rewarding. TWOB, they're not even moving a muscle. Mac is the only one that's moving a bit. The rest, they're just sitting in one single spot, waiting for Phoenix Esports to make some sort of a move. Revenant X Park, they've already kick-started things in the elimination feed. They were able to find one knock, but can they find the confirmation? Phoenix Esports finally marching their way against TWOB. Phoenix, they're done waiting. They want to take the fight right here, right now. They want to shut down every possible action that might be coming through from TWOB's way. And Phoenix Esports, with the help of the utilities, slowly and steadily making their presence felt and also emptying out corners. Avi, the man still holding the corner. He's just waiting for someone to walk in. He's waiting for that right moment to strike, but Godin, he's not someone who's going to give him it just like that.
Well, here's the thing. Phoenix Esports, they have got good amount of utils to work around with. But for the players of TWOB, Avi doesn't have any grenade or a smoke available with him. On the other side, Phoenix Esports trying to barrage into the compounds of the players of TWOB with those grenades, but no connection has been made. But Phantom has got a chip damage. Gotten. He's one of the players known for heavy fragging. Let's see if he can create any sort of an opening. And finally, the close frontal battle is there. And Owen is the one to be taken down by Avi.
Oh, but Avi is not going to stop there. He finds the two-piece. Stage 1's not done yet. It's still power play active. He's managed to convert 2 points for his teammates. If he manages to find the confirmation on Golden 2 in the Stage 1 itself, that's going to be 4 points right there. And he does claim those. Stage 1 will be closed out in 40 seconds. Power play will be ending in 35. Avi needs to do something. He needs to find another finish. That can contribute a lot more in the overall standings. Phoenix Esports, time's running out of hands. 25 seconds left on the clock for the power play to expire. And just like that, Phoenix Esports, they've been eliminated from this game. It's also Pakar who makes it count, and that's 8 points right there for TWOB converted.
And that when TWOB was shot on those grenades, Phoenix Esports had better utility, had better weaponry to work around with. It was the sheer patience and the angle which Avi was holding on to. He was able to get 2 of the players of Phoenix Esports, and after that it was Pakar getting the remaining 2 players. A good head start for the players of TWOB. But few rotations are also happening from the side of Ruins, especially the way the players of OnePlus K9 are there. They need to be a bit careful from the side of Global Esports, but look at the position where we have the players of 8-bit right in the center, and Sanhok has always been the strength for Somraj.
This is 8-bit's first game. And in the first game itself, 8-bit playing for control. Something that they're known for. Even 8-bit's one of those teams that is consistently making it to the grand finals, but they're not able to showcase the same performance they do in the league stages. K9 against Global Esports. Manya, Spraygod, Troy, and Veron. Everyone known in the community. The OGs assembled under the banner of Global Esports. But this time, they need to be wrecking ball. A force to be reckoned with. Global Esports. What is the game plan? That's the main question. Manya is the one in the driving seat. He's the ideal of this team. On paper, Global Esports, they seem like quite a solid lineup. And this lineup does have a lot of potential too. But let's see if it's actually going to work out or not. Troy, wanting to reposition himself, moves out in the open. A massive mistake. But it's also going to help Veron to create a bit of an off angle and punish the opponents too. But this punishment was not enough to get a knock. K9 Esports, they still get away with the murder. And now K9 Esports, knowing them, they're not someone who's going to back away from this fight. Instead, they will try to create an off angle, get the confirmation, and then take care of the rest of the GE.
And it seems like that's exactly what the players of K9 Esports wants to do. Slug keeping a close eye onto Troy, who is actually getting a chip damage from the blue zone. And final bullet has been landed, and Troy has been eliminated. One finish point already towards the side of K9, but we also have a situation between the players of Team iQOO Soul and Team Hero Extreme. Godlike Punk is in a wrong territory, right into the compounds where Knuckle is there, along with his teammate. This is not looking really good, Punk. You need to be very careful and cautious. Not too many utils to work around with. Not even a single util to work around with.
Hero Extreme Godlike. Slowly and steadily moving towards Picado. Soul against him. This age-old rivalry is on the verge of being unfolded once again. And Sim falls down. First casualty, godlike. Not a good look for them. Fight's taken down to a 3v3. Soul, they've managed to convert 5 finishes already in this game. But how many points? It's still a question mark. Soul, they're not done yet. Godlike, they're constantly falling apart. Godlike's taking a lot of damage. The utility placement from Soul, it's on point. And it's also doing a lot of damage against the players of Godlike. The players are dropping down, but even Soul, they have a bit of a casualty upon themselves as Knuckle falls down. Joker, he's right there in the window, and if Joker's not able to convert, now that's going to be a real problem, but he does stop at Mino in his tracks. And Joker, he shuts down Punk too. Godlike eliminated by Soul in this game. And that's 8 finish points converted. Solid stuff from Soul. And this is definitely going to make the highlights.
Oh, for sure, the Instagram reel is going to be there. But wait a second, 8 finishes toward the side of iQOO Soul. The first 2 games didn't go entirely in the favor of the players team of iQOO Soul. But this one was really important. And taking down one of the big giants in the lobby is definitely going to boost the confidence for the players of iQOO Soul. Especially Joker, the way this guy, out of 8, 5 finishes just by Joker. The last 1v1 was also really important. And Joker did reign supreme in that situation by taking down Edmino. Punk was able to get the opening frag onto the players of iQOO Soul. But I think that went all the way down the drain since they were not able to keep the numbers alive. But look at the position. I think 8-bit is still in a very promising spot, Necro.
Yeah, 8-bit still doing good. Once again in the center spot. They pretty much have the prime spot inside of the game. But hopefully 8-bit, they do not lose out on players. Genesis Esports, oh, they're getting clicked on. Marcos Gaming, they're the one to bring terror and fear against Genesis. And within a blink of an eye, Genesis Esports has been eliminated from this game. What just happened here? Genesis, all the 4 players just vanish into thin air.
Most certainly. 12 teams remaining, 41 players. Where if you look at the position where the players of Team OG are, they have got the entire northern control of the circle. They can potentially look for a dominant control over there. 8-bit still eyeing for the center. And if you look at the southern side, then we have the players of Team 4TR and also the players of K9. I love the rotation which is coming from K9. They've dropped all the way towards the side of Temple and went towards the south, having a very long rotation. But we also have a situation between the players of Marcos Gaming and NoNx, where Viper has already been knocked out. And even his teammate Kalyug makes a mistake of over-committing, receives a hefty damage.
NoNx is at a high spot. And this high ground is also going to attract a lot of ice. And one of those ice are also coming in from K9 Esports. K9, they are spread out. But that also means that K9 Esports also has a lot of angles against NoNx. And that's what exactly is happening. Anonymous gets knocked out. A massive knock coming in from Omega. That's going to stop Anonymous in his tracks. But Omega himself now, he's attracted a lot of eyes upon himself. The ice is broken. Omega's position revealed. The man's exposed. And he will pay the price for that. Rapido to get the confirmation against K9 Esports' Omega. And K9 now taken down to a 3-man squad. K9's now a headless body. With no IGL inside of the game living anymore. K9 needs to come up with decisions on the fly to help them support the upcoming moments. But once again, a huge shout out to Duolingo. The real winner picks a smarter test. Duolingo English test accepted by 6,000 plus universities.
Look at the position where the players of K9 are. They can easily get sandwiched between the players of 4TR and NoNx. NoNx is already aware about the rotation which K9 is trying to pull off. They need to watch their 6 as well because 4TR can do a lot of damage towards the side of K9. And if you remember, one of the major problems with K9 has always been keeping the numbers alive. Omega is always the one to be picked off first. And now Ninja Boy, he has also been eliminated. So that means K9 is left with only 2 players. And so are the players of 4TR. 4TR looks so promising considering the roster which they are having. And in the recent official tournaments also, 4TR was also performing really good. But losing on to 2 players, first game, not looking that promising. And Beast is also aware about the position of Z God.
It's knocked out. Oh no, gets back up on his feet, but Beast. Oh, this man's brace quite stable. It's going to be tough to disengage from this fight. As Z-God gets confirmed, 4TR. Big wall of panic. 4TR down to just that one man. K9 Esports themselves, they're in hot water. They're not feeling themselves. Unfortunately for K9 Esports, this sort of a fight, it's not going to pan out well. Revenant X-Spark, high spin on top of the hill. God's Reign, they're the one who's got the throne. And this high ground, it's going to give them a lot of information. It will be rewarding, but can they convert that intel into something better? And what was that knock from Delta? Disgusting stuff. Sensei falls down. Revenant X-Spark did not even know where that hit them. And now for God's Reign, the most important thing to do is fall back, get the recovery done, make it inside of the circle in a better spot. But hold on to that thought. TWB, they make a push, and it was quite an unorthodox push as well against the players of NoNx, and it somehow works out. NoNx down to a two-man squad. TWB, they've got the man advantage inside of the fight. NoNx, they're constantly hammering down the players of NoNx. And at this point in time, TWB, with just a two-man on the board, it's time to play the defense well. But unfortunately for TWB, they do not really have the high ground inside of the fight.
They don't even have the circle, I guess, because the next circle shift is going to be away from them. Then you also need to deal with the players of NoNx, and NoNx is aware. And look at the position where Phantom and Pucar are. They are so far away from each other. If a knock comes in, the chances of rescuation are very less. And speaking of Pucar, he has already been eliminated by NoNx Kaliok. On the other side, Global Esports was also doing a third party on the players of Revenant X-Spark, where they did manage to get a knock. But now the circle is favoring the players of Marcos Gaming, also favoring the players of Team 8-Bit. And mind you, Necro, 8-Bit has been silent throughout the game. That is not their usual playstyle. They are known for their aggression, but maybe now...
Usually, for 8-Bit, it depends game to game. If the circle is constantly on top of them, there's no reason for 8-Bit to go for the fight, right? And that's been the case inside of this game of Sanhok. The circle has constantly been on top of the players of 8-Bit. Now is the time where they're currently on the edge. But before this, they were constantly in the smack center. So for 8-Bit to go for the fight, it does not even make any sense. So I do understand the reason why 8-Bit's been so silent, but since they've already lost out on a man, now that's going to be a bit of a concern. Because now, since the zone is moving away from them, 8-Bit needs to come up with a rotation pathway.
And that has been the usual play style of the players of Team 8-Bit. If you remember Somraj when he was playing under the banner of Team VXT, that time also in the initial few first circles of Sanhok, they always used to opt for the center. And from this third or fourth circle, they used to start picking up those fights. And maybe now they can try doing the same. But I agree with the fact that they don't have the numbers. It's only 3 players. Maybe that could also be the reason. But look at where Phantom is, right in the front of the players of Team NoNx in a 1v2 situation. He needs to be very careful. He's hiding. He's actually hiding on the low ground.
Phantom is inside of the cave. I do understand the names are kind of overlapping, so you would think they were right next to each other. But yeah, Phantom's inside of the cave. The man's all good. You've got NoNx on top of the hill. The way NoNx was able to dominate that fight against TWB, it was great. NoNx did not even have the man number. TWB had the man advantage, but still somehow they ended up losing that fight. And now that NoNx, they have the high ground to play with in the final few moments, they can utilize this information to do a lot more. And one of them can also be to figure out a way how you can make it inside of the zone. Figure out a safe rotation path. OG in the far fray, spotted. Shots do connect, but those shots are not enough to get any sort of critical damage. There is one team in the back lines, and that is going to be K9 Esports, Beast. Beast does have the line of sight. He has spotted the players, but Beast knows the moment he goes for the shots against NoNx, he will also be shotted from the left side.
The surrounding awareness, like you pointed out, is definitely there. Beast trying to slowly crawl his way into the circle. Trying to be a bit cautious from the side of NoNx, 8-Bit, and also speaking about the fact that God's Reign is looking in a very promising position, but Marcos Gaming and NoNx are also trying to lock horns with each other as NoNx wants to breach into the compounds of Marcos Gaming. But look at the amount of grenades which Marcos Gaming is having.
Marcos Gaming, they've got all the 4 players standing, while NoNx, they've only got 2. A 2-on-4, completely one-sided fight. Can Marcos Gaming easily convert it? On paper, they should, and that's what exactly is happening. Well-placed utility is going to find the first knock inside of the fight, and even Levi, it does not seem like the man's going to be given a lot of chances. He wanted to go for the confirmation, but he gets denied in the end. A lot of whiffs from Levi, and that's why he was not able to get the confirmation, but it's completely fine. NoNx, they were able to get decent bit of points. It's not enough, but it is at least something that they can work with.
Even TWOB has also been eliminated on the 7th spot. But looks like even the players of Team 8-Bit are also locking horns, where 2+ are already down on their knees. God's Reign trying for the potential dominant control from the northern side. They have the height advantage, and they're also making sure to get a couple of knocks down there onto the players of 8-Bit as well. Apollo, he needs to patch himself up as soon as possible. And a single grenade from the side of Superman marks an end for the players of Team 8-Bit. This is not a good start for 8-Bit. This is not what they were looking for.
Match kicks are hurt too. There is God's Reign on top of the hill, so Apollo cannot even get out to go for that revival. He needs some smokes, he needs some utilities, but he's got none. Apollo, this man's gonna be strangled to his death. Unfortunately for Mad Kings, they won't be able to survive for too long. But at least they were a part of top 5 in this game. Orangutan closing up slowly and steadily against the players of Marcos Gaming. Another one-sided fight for Marcos Gaming. They've got the man advantage in this one, but no an AKOP. And what sort of a caliber this man possesses. This seems like a fair fight to me. The man AKOP, he can single-handedly dominate fights and turn the tables, but this time he gets knocked out by a well-placed Molotov. OG in a big world of trouble. They do not even have to play Maker AKOP in the game anymore, and Marcos Gaming, for them, this should be a buttery smooth ride.
And it certainly was, but now the next victim could be the players of God's Reign. Back and forth raids are happening, and now for the players of Marcos Gaming, 3 men alive. They have the height advantage, they have the position advantage, and they get the last finish as well. And they get a winner chicken dinner. Marcos Gaming, they missed on the map of Miramar, but finally in the map of Sanhok, they get it.
They woke up late, but they woke up well. And Marcos Gaming directly struck hard on the map of Sanhok. We all thought, looking at the zone, this could have been 8-Bit's game, but in the end, the zone shifted away, and 8-Bit too were extremely hurt. They only had 3 men, so they could not really do a lot. They were not able to find a safe pathway inside of the circle, and God's Reign was constantly holding that high ground. It was also one of the main reasons why God's Reign was seen in the top 2, but Marcos Gaming, man, what a way to fight back. What a way to get that chicken dinner on the point where you were almost on the latter half of the board. Not doing too good. Before now, it's time for us to toss to a short break. You guys do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
An absolute phenomenal piece of action out there from Marcos Gaming, but God's Range is falling one step short from picking that victory, ladies and gentlemen. We are hopping back into OnePlus Android BGMI Master Series Season 4. Third game, Sanhok overshadow both the off maps and now done and dusted. So it's going to be moving back onto the maps of Erangel. First of all, how excited were you for that previous one, to be honest?
I was extremely excited, but I was also a bit disappointed from few of the teams, like the players of Team 8-Bit. Sanhok has always been the strength for Somraj and the boys, but seems like this time things didn't really go in their favor, but that was kind of unexpected as well. What really happened with them? Maybe in the next match they can do a good recovery.
I mean, it's only day one, right? There's so many things that is left to be unfolded. But for now, we're going to reveal the MVP of the previous one, and that is going to be Joker from Seoul. 5 finishes for the man, 62.5% teamfight contribution. I mean, talk to me through that fight against Godlike, because he eventually became that man for the team.
Certainly, most certainly, not just against the players of Godlike, I think against the players of Meta NINZA as well. I think Joker had a lot of contribution. Total 5 finishes to his name, going all out. The best companion has to be from the side of NoNx, Kalyug, with 2 rescues and 2 assists. But Superman is the finisher with 5 finishes and 1 assist. Marcos Gaming, they came so close to getting a chicken dinner in the map of Miramar, but finally in the Sanhok they get it. So it is a consistent day for Marcos Gaming, I think.
Yeah, because for the previous few games as well, we've constantly seen them being at least around that top 8, right? And getting those standard points. Now, 8 points are not really the standard points. I'd still say 5 to 6, we could probably say, are the ones that are really, really decent out here right now, ladies and gentlemen. Hopping back onto the highlights, the OnePlus never settle moments for the previous game. We're going to be watching back the play that Joker made again. And this is really the highlight of probably the entire day, to be honest, because all of the members of Godlike just deleted instantly. Yes, he had to take the exit after that, but guess what? He already did his job for all the fans out there, at least. Now they've got some insane amount of content to post on the socials.
Definitely, for the fans, it was a great moment and a great fight. I'm sure the fans of Seoul are going to be really happy what really Joker pulled off. He took down Jonathan and after that Edmino as well. But looking at the match ranking, Marcos Gaming at the top with 25 total points.
Yeah.
And after that, Team iQOO Seoul also doing a good recovery with a total of 12 finishes and 12 points to their name.
Yeah, I mean, that one of the big reasons for that is because they eliminated Godlike all the way in the first circle itself. So the power play points helping them out. OG2 not really falling that far behind, still getting 6 points. Not really keeping up the performance from the previous one, but I believe that's absolutely fine. Definite X-Park, Genesis, Phoenix, Global Esports, Godlike. These are the teams that I'm a bit more concerned about, right? Because, yeah, they've already played one game. Now only one of that is remaining. A lot of changes out here in the ranking as Marcos instantly move all the way up with 36 points.
Certainly, and REVENANT Park, they have been pushed back to the second spot with a total of 29 points. Since the Sanhok didn't go entirely in their favor, even the players of OG were not able to rank up too many points in Sanhok. Yeah. Total 27 points, sitting on the third spot. Not a bad performance, but Likitha Esports with just 8 points. Reckoning Esports on the 15th spot with just 9 points. And K9, this is a big surprise for me because they were alive for a very long time, but still not too many points. The rotation did become a big problem for the players of K9 Esports.
5 finishes out there for the team as well. So yeah, a bit of a wall of trouble out for themselves. But again, Hero Extreme, Godlike, Global Esports, Genesis Esports, Phoenix Esports. These are the teams that my full focus is on right now. Genesis, Phoenix not really getting a lot of points out there. One of the big things, Shadow, is the fact that Phoenix Esports was also a team that has been struggling since the previous third-party tournament, right? So that I think so. This is about time for them to try and pull their socks up. But ladies and gentlemen, you know what? We're gonna give these teams some time to pull their socks up as well, as the last map of Erangel will be on the other side of this break.
R is for RAM on roids. A 12GB ramped up, run on all engines, upgraded in a world resigned to 8 gig. Ridiculously ripped. Raise the stakes with a ruthless dozen. Ready to raid. Write faster, roll smoother. Reach higher with a refuse to die battery. Every app, every activity. Rep, 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 rep. If it's in your radius, R keeps it on rotation. OnePlus 13R. R is ours.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen. Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born, they practice every day for OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Back after that short break, ladies and gentlemen, you all are watching OnePlus Android BGMI Master Series Season 4 back again, and a huge shout out going into Google Play Protect. Keep your apps and data safe with Google Play Protect. And to be very honest, Shadow, I think so right now Middle Esports need to protect their position on that first space, right? Because they're probably a part of the Group B lineup out here. So that means, yeah, they're going to play 4 games today. And this is going to be their last game and last opportunity to try and build that cushion up so that when they play tomorrow, a lot of teams are not really able to catch up to them.
Especially for the players of TWOB and God's Rain, because TWOB was also really on the struggling side on the map of Sanhok.
Yeah.
But at least they had few finishes. But God's Rain was also on the struggling end. So yes, the last map of Erangel is going to be really important for God's Rain and TWOB. But speaking about the groups, I think Group A has been doing fantastic today.
Yeah, they've been doing really, really good right now, playing a couple of games, you know. But there's one last game remaining now. Group A was already out before this one map, so it's Group C playing right here, right now, the last map of Erangel. No more off maps coming into the play, so you've got to be ready. You've got to make sure that you have all your wicked plays in your back pocket to try and pull them off, to try and pull those shenanigans. Because this is the last chance for the teams to close out today's day on a very solid note. Necro mentioned that yes, it is a long sprint, or rather it is a long marathon of over 20 days, but my point still stays that every single day is a sprint on its own.
I totally agree. I think every week, every day is going to be really important for both these teams, because changing a comeback at the 11th hour at the last week is not going to be easy at all. You have to be in the top 4. So many things are at the stake, and I think few teams have already started making their comeback. Just like the players of Team Soul. In the previous one, they had good amount of finishes. Yes, survival became a bit of the problem, but if you're getting 8 finishes, especially in the first circle, in the power play, I think you're good to go.
I 100% agree right now, as we are good to go into the last map of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be hopping back onto the map of Erangel, where 40R, Genesis K9, Godlike, Phoenix, Mad Kings, 8-Bit and Global Esports will play their second and last game of the day. God's Rain are going to be pretty happy, though. Yes, a sour taste in their mouth for not really getting the victory on the previous one, but Marco's Gaming absolutely happy with all the sweeteners for that one. Ranking all the way up on the first place, though. OG also faced some struggles on that one, but we have seen that sometimes the Sanhok don't really go in their way. But I remember that one previous event, Shadow, and Sanhok was the map where they started their steamroll.
This time it's not happening, at least not today. Maybe tomorrow Sanhok can be theirs. But Erangel can definitely be theirs, because Miramar is where they shine the most.
True.
Especially AQOP. So maybe in Erangel they can also try doing the same thing, because the first Erangel didn't go entirely in their favor. All they had was just 2 points to their name. So this Erangel is going to be important for the players of OG. And looking at the flight path, it is going all the way from the side of Stelbert towards Crore. So all the teams who love dropping in towards the side of Primos, Georgopol, Zarki, is going to be a big journey.
With the teams, yeah, as you mentioned, even towards Gatka, they might have some troubles out there, though.
Oh.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not really surprised, though. And Shadow, I can see not just a smirk.
It.
Yeah, it's not a smirk on your face. You're literally laughing eye to eye, ear to ear. You give me the creeps of Joker from The Dark Knight.
I don't don't mind. Call me whatever you want. You know what is my favorite circle?
The one that's in front of us. Water
Yes.
circle.
No. Quarry final circle.
Why would you want a quarry final circle?
Because of all the terrains which has got it has got. The entire geography of Quarry is so difficult to play around with. Especially in the final circle.
I wasn't really a big fan of geography back in my school days as well, so I just stuck to the water parts. That's because you don't really have any land to play with, so all the fights are over before the final circle.
But we have seen too many water circles. Quarry circles are very rare to witness. Just like OSS circle in Miramar.
What happened? What if we actually see a Primos circle though?
Please don't jinx it.
Yeah, but right now you really need NoNx members to not jinx their potential win out against 4TR right now. It's only last anonymous remaining. That man has been a Chad even in the previous iterations of BGMS right now, but he can't stand strong against Morty, as he will eventually claim a lot of points for his team. 4TR quickly answering back, as on the other side, Mac is now firing on all cylinders against Meta NINZA.
Well, they certainly are, but 4TR, they also need to patch themselves up. They need to go for the revival onto the fallen comrade. And Morty, with that Bucky, is trying to save his teammate. Let's see if he can really do so, because the player is knocked right on the bridge. It's not going to be easy. Sometimes in life, you have to make those hard decisions, and that is what 4TR did.
I mean, the decision is going to get even more crazy now, since K9 Esports, I can see in the map feed, really want to try and bite a piece of this pie. They hadn't really had a good game in the previous one, so maybe they want to try and pull something that OG did previously. To try and pull themselves back up right now. They're really moving around that same vicinity as we are looking at Morty as he wants to try and survive now. Beast quickly answering back as well instantly. Kaluk taken down out of this game. Not really going to survive out there. The hunting party, the hunting pack is here. As Omega was the only man who eventually stayed behind. But guess what? Soul made their way up north after dropping towards school.
Oh.
And they really want to take this fight.
Against the players of K9?
Interesting.
Definitely, because Soul is doing better than K9 in the leaderboard. And if they really pick up the players of K9 Esports in the power play, in the very first circle, few extra points to their name. But seems like the path of rotation is a bit different for K9. They're going all the way towards the side of shooting range, whereas the players of Team iQOO Soul are going all the way towards the bridge area, where we have the players of 4TR. iQOO Soul is definitely looking for some action.
Yeah, they really want to fight for this one. They're like, you know what, boys, let's just call it an early night. Either it's going to be an early night or it's a banger of a night. Either way, we're going to have some party while we're going back home. As again, this one, look at the position. They don't really care about the loot or anything per se. They just want to try and pick up the pieces from that fight too, as the power play is going on. And this is exactly what we talk about. Take those early fights in the power play. Try to find those openings. Try and find those opportunities. That's exactly what's happening right now. As a few teams are already making their move as well inside though, but Z-God still trying to hold strong. This man, the ex-member of Godlike, wanted to stand but could not stand on his feet as they were pierced instantly. And it seems like Soul actually has got a personal problem, not just with the members of current Godlike squad, but also some of the ex-members.
No, they don't have any problem with any of the organization or the players. It's just that iQOO Soul is looking for some action in the very first stage of the circle. That is what they did in the map of Sanhok, going against the players of Team Meta NINZA and then going against the players of Hero Extreme Godlike. And this time iQOO Soul was looking for some action. First, they were trying to go against the players of K9, but K9 went on their own way. They found the players of 4TR, but wait a second. The last player is still surviving, hiding in the Wizard Tower.
I mean, that's... How much can you do with just the survival shadow? Like, let's just say you survive to get the chicken dinner. You're getting 10 points for your team. You're only getting 10 points for your team. Maybe, luckily, you get a couple of eliminations. That's all. 12, 13 points. That's not going to matter per se. And this is the best case scenario we're talking about.
Optimism to the point of delusion.
That's exactly what I'm saying. My point is, there's no need to survive right now. Just try and
survive to get 1 or 2 points.
Exactly. Just try and take the fight and get those points. Specifically in the power play. Because every elimination means 2 points for you.
Yes. But getting those 2 points is not going to be easy, because majority of the teams have got all the 4 players alive. So if you try to pick anyone, there is a very high chance that someone is going to answer back. Before you get the confirmation point, you'll be a dead man. That could be a possibility. So that could be the reason the last player of OTR is just trying to hide in that wizard tower and letting the players of Hero Extreme Godlike cross their way across the bridge.
How many teams have showed up there? It seems like he's the only human surviving in a zombie world where everyone is hunting for the food. A quiet place probably, as everything's being attracted to the sound, and he's the quietest man on this entire map right now. He's seen everything, right? He's seen K9 Esports Onslaught. He's also seen Soul running in, and then he's also now seeing Godlike, and he's gonna wait till K9 make that cross. Still holding his position while the rest of the pack make their own move. I wanted to see someone camp out the bridge near the ferry pier, because everyone knows that God's Rain dropped to military base, so that one part of the map, it's like one of the most deadly choke point to cross out from. And every single time God's Rain, they eventually manage to cross it.
That's why no one is going for the bridge block, because they know that how good God's Rain is. No matter how many times you block the bridge, God's Rain always find a way to break it and move inside the circle. They know how to cross it. They know million ways to break your defense.
Give me 10 ways to cross that bridge.
I'm not God's Rain.
Wow! You say there are a million ways and then you can't give me the 10 ways.
They know. Not me. They know it.
Shadow moving the boat in a straight line and then just curving it a little does not mean two different waves. That means one single way, and this one single way is what the circle knows right now. Moving all the way towards the southwestern part yet again. You wanted a quarry circle? Guess what? You're gonna see a no man's land circle probably with the way how it's going. And the best part about this entire circle line is that you have to take control of those ridges. You've got to take control of the edge.
And that's a silver lining for the last player of OTR. By taking the blue zone damage, he can go all the way towards the water and try to survive in the water for as long as possible. But for God's Rain, they are going for the southern rotation at this point. So very close to the players of TWOB. TWOB is also one of those teams who's always looking for the action. Phantom is also one of the veteran players of BGMI. We have seen him in Master Series so many times. Earlier he was with Carpe Diem.
I mean, only before that he was also with Gemin, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Long back, right? Goes all the way towards Season 2 times out there right now, but in front of us, TWOB trying to find some members. It's God's Rain who are on their way of the rotation as well, instantly losing Justin. That's not really the player you would want to lose right now. Revenant X Park as well out in the open. A stray squad eventually found one. Sensei making sure that his boys are now catching some action, which they've been missing for such a long time down southwest of that quarry. There's still a few teams that are lingering around, right? Goblin eventually fell in the blue zone, and guess what? Everyone from Seoul still sitting quite and pretty out at school. Not quite sure when they would decide to go in for their own rotation.
Late rotation is the key sometimes, and that is exactly what the players of K9 are also trying to do, and Mad Kings are also doing the same thing, taking the brunt of the blue. But someone is looking for action, and that is the players of Team 8-Bit, because if you notice their position, they're all the way towards the western shorelines. That is where we have the players of Team NoNx as well. And since all the players of 8-Bit are sticking together, this could actually be a good game for the players of 8-Bit, and they really need a good game because Sanhok was not in their favor. But someone who is feeling very confident in the leaderboard are the players of Marcos Gaming.
Absolutely up on top. And even right now, they're sitting dead in the center. Taking that extensive height advantage of Quarry as well. No one out there in the mines, so something that they can try and utilize out there. But finally, as this blue is almost about to hit the circle as well, the action, it's not yet over. NoNx, Rapido instantly booking a ride for a member of God's Rain back home. And God's Rain are being picked apart one after the other.
They most certainly are. Revenant Spark also in the close proximity. And look at the amount of rotations which are coming from the southern side.
Everyone.
Everyone basically. Towards the north, we have the players of Team Genesis, and also OnePlus K9 also trying to traverse their way from the northern side. Then we also have the last player of 4TR. And now, I like the rotation which the players of iQOO Solo are bringing in all the way from the eastern side of the circle. When everyone is focused on the center or towards the southern side, they are going to find a clear pathway inside the circle. But seems like the rotations can be a bit problem for the last player of NoNx, Rapido. Few shots were being exchanged, but finally survived by the skin of the teeth.
Just by the skin of their teeth, as you mentioned. I'll have to see for how long would they be able to survive, though. Delta is eventually making his way to the same compound where he was now. Another lineup that I really want to look at is Global Esports, the roster that picked up the trophy of the very first iteration of the BGMI Master Series. Pretty close out there, Spray God. Could have been blasted to pieces out with that one nade, but survived. Lucky. That's how you say you can survive by the skin of your teeth.
Was he lucky, or was the guy lobbing the grenade was lucky? Because in a moving vehicle, it's very rare that you can do so much damage with just a grenade, but the last player of 4TR gets one. You wanted finishes, and he's getting those finishes, gets Goblin, but in a third-party situation, K9 from far off angle, Ninja Boy eliminates him, and also gets Knuckle from the side of Team iQOO Soul. 2 players already down. Joker is the last man standing. This is the moment where the players of K9 should be rushing in, and they certainly are doing the same thing and completely annihilates the players of Team iQOO Soul on the 15th spot.
Perfect play coming in from them. Absolutely destroying those surviving members as well. The late rotation not really helping them out. Just a couple of points being picked up early on. If I'm not wrong, they only had 1 eliminations, right? So that basically means a couple of points. If they had 2 eliminations, 4 points. So not really the best out there. But K9, they're going to be absolutely happy. Taking that early fight, sending all 3 members, the firing squad down south. Over towards that bridge to take some early scraps and eventually then rendezvousing later on in towards that circle. Orangutan made the early rotation out here, so they're trying to just hold it on down. They know that there's some members on the other side. They haven't really been feeling themselves up, right, with that aggression, I believe. Every other team has now started to adjust and adapt to this new meta rotation. And also, there's this fact that BGMS follows its own pattern, right? We see a lot of early fights, we see a lot of early aggression.
Just look at the position where Hero Extreme Godlike is. Right in the center of the circle. A good spot to hold on to, but difficult to defend. Let's see if they can really defend that spot. But for now, the players of TWOB are also trying to traverse their way inside the circle from the southern side. They need to be cautious from the side of Revenant Spark. But for now, Mad King Sapolo down on his knees, begging for a rescue mission, begging for help. But seems like the help won't be coming his way, as the players of K9 are so very close to him.
Yeah.
But still trying to crawl his way. And finally, the confirmation has been made by Slug.
Yep.
And Mad Kings, the problem has always been the rotation. They're not able to traverse inside the circle, because if you notice in the previous game as well, this was a problem for the players of Mad Kings.
It's got one of the couple of members of the OG lineups out there as well. Very experienced members. Have played with some of the top players, and if I'm not wrong, you know, there used to be a duo that everyone feared the most.
Yeah.
The Clutch God, Jonathan. There in the lobby, anything could happen. Jonathan's still been here, but Clutch God was the one who was fading away, spending a long time with Gujarat Tigers as well. Didn't really get a lot of success out there too. Eventually now want to reclaim his former glory. The boys out there, Shadow, Ninja as well, if I'm not wrong, is in the lineup right now. But they've got to try and hold their space down. Spray God is the one who's going to try and burn them even more alive. Not just one side is where they're being struck at, but they're being struck from every single direction as it's a pinch between Global Esports and K9. They have to run away, they have to try and survive, but Shadow falls as well. Being sprayed down instantly as Spray God is now standing up to his name. Global Esports, they themselves are getting some shots fired upon on their back too, so they have to be careful about that.
But Spray God, this man is on a different level, taking down 2 players from the side of Mad Kings. And Mad Kings, I do understand, it's a newly built roster. The lack of synergy is clearly visible in the gameplay. Let's hope they rectify whatever is really wrong. But on the other side, 8-bit charges onto the single player of Team God's Reign. Gets a confirmation point. And on the other side of the map, Mad Kings, they've all also been eliminated.
Yeah.
On the 14th spot, and so are the players of God's Reign on the 13th spot. God's Reign, the misery is still continuing. Sanhok was not really their map, and seems like Erangel is also not their game. But Spray God, wait a second, what's really happening? This guy is built different. Single grenade takes on Beast, and with a follow-up grenade takes on Slug as well.
Now they've got to be a bit more careful as well though. A few people around their vicinity, but if they manage to get win this one fight, it's going to be a big thing right now. Omega falls down onto his knees, but On is able to shut Beast as well. A big play coming in. Global Esports. What a master call from Manya. Ron will eventually fall down onto his knees, but it's fine. He'll be revived up as well as Spray God, long range. He's able to knock another one down, and it's Sap. What a play coming in from this man. There's a reason why he's named himself as Spray God, and he's standing up to his peak form.
This man ain't stopping for anyone. 4 finishes in just few seconds. And now, trying to move inside the circle from the northern periphery. Need to be a bit cautious from the side of Hero Extreme Godlike. Majority of the rotations are still coming from the southern side, where we have the players of TWOB, Puka still bleeding, begging for the help, but S-Power, even he's getting shots from somewhere else. He need to be a bit cautious, trying to reposition himself. Very much aware about the players of TWOB, but not so aware about the players of Global Esports.
That's going to be a big thing right now. Holding their own ground down. As good as your entire lineup is, you know you can't take the fight if Spray God is knocking heads off like that. Just a couple of shots onto your skull and helmet is absolutely out of the mix, which you would really want over towards the end too. TWOB not that far behind as well as Revenant X-Park are trying to gatekeep them. So 8-bit have a bit of a room to work around with, and as soon as I say that, Hunter, first man to find knock onto the other side, and that is going to attract the attention of maybe Genesis as well, as they're just on the northern side of 8-bit.
4 teams towards the southern western side of the periphery of the circle. Genesis also being one of them, as Yash with a grenade trying to find something, some opening through the smokes, and finally gets a perfect connection onto Raiden, but with a vehicle run over coming into the play. What's really happening? S-Power came for the hunt and gets hunted himself.
Absolutely destroyed instantly as 8-bit gets slammed in from 2 different directions. The sandwich which was cooked to perfection, but Revenant X-Park, they themselves decide to try and take another fight as they're pouncing upon the remnants of what was remaining there. Fierce, able to take Mac down too. Not just him, even Avi falls from him. TWOB instantly being shown the gates of exit as Genesis now finally are trying to move back up as well against the members of Revenant X-Park, as Fury is down on his knees, so needs to be picked back up too. Another nade being launched out there, but our Tunky comes in as a survivor, or rather a savior, taking down Zap. So to be pulled back up on his feet.
A third party coming into the play as Fury has been eliminated by Atanki. The Revenant X-Park, they need to be a bit cautious now. They don't have the height advantage, the position advantage. They need to defend their area, their compounds. And mind you, scared, a single grenade from the side of Genesis can take down multiple players of Revenant X-Park. So this is definitely not a good position to hold on to. And I think Sensei do realize that. And that's where the vehicles are almost ready, trying to reposition. Fierce, maybe trying to provide all the backline support. The vehicle is also giving away the position of Rapido of NoNx Esports. So Revenant X-Park, they do have a lot of intel to work around with. But few rotations are still coming from the northern side. Global Esports, Hero Extreme Godlike are also one of them. And maybe there is a possibility that they can also lock horns with each other. But wait a second, Phoenix Esports versus Orangutan is happening where Cotton has been knocked out.
OG versus the XIGL of OG right now. He needs to stand up strong, but a couple of players already knocked out, instantly destroyed. Viscord's been taken down though. Shots being fired from the other side. It's Revenant X-Pac to answer back. Viscord's going to be dealt with. That is a big, big problem coming in for the boys of OG. Might potentially lose him out as well, as Atanki is still trying to provide the support to his team. Still a couple of members of Phoenix. They're alive out there, one of them being Ash. And we know that he understands how Viscord and iQOO play. He absolutely understands everything, but Godlike need to understand that it is a fight they can't really take. Instantly obliterated, Punk down on his knees, Simp destroyed, 2 members lost. Global Esports and Genesis working in unison to try and take both of them down. Such a long range play coming in from Global Esports. And Genesis are ready to collect the scraps, but Admino and Jonathan are standing. These are the 2 players who are always the strongest pillars of this lineup. Can they stand strong again?
This is going to be a battle of the grenades. Grenades being exchanged by Genesis and Hero Extreme Godlike. Genesis, they have the numbers advantage. They have more real estate to work around with. It's all about the connection. If Admino finds a connection with the grenade, this fight can actually go in the favor of Hero Extreme Godlike. Yeah. The smoke cover, the soft cover is already there. Not too many utils. Jonathan is not having even a single grenade or a smoke, and a perfect nade comes in from the side of Hunters. This guy has always been a beast with his grenades. The timing, the connection has always been there. And finally, marks an end for the players of Hero Extreme Godlike as well.
And we're talking about a beast. Instantly, Stragon taps up into the game as well as Hunters were the first one to fall. He finds Zap too. This man is putting up a performance that we've only seen from iQOO on multiple fronts. Low on that HP. The armor is absolutely level 1, which is almost destroyed. Some got another nade in the direction where he received the other one. But guess what? Gravity understands the situation, bends the space to send one flying towards Praygod. Low in the HP, almost taken down. But guess what? It's Grace from Revenant X-Pac getting another third party. He ruined the game for Viscord once, and now he's ruining the game for Genesis.
He most certainly is. Revenant X-Pac, 5 finishes. 3-man, already strong, having a control of the circle as well. And the entire team of Genesis right in front of him. And praise God, this guy has always been a great addition in the entire lineup of Sensei. And finally, he proves why he's such a great player. 4 finishes out of 8. 50% contribution already there. And with that, Genesis, they've also been eliminated on the 7th spot. Revenant X-Pac. This is a completely different Revenant X-Pac. This is not the same Sensei which we used to witness in the org of Wild Fangs.
I'll just have to say at this point, you know, Sensei has got this nice synergy with BGMI Master Series and the entire format as to how it plays out. He always brings his team to at least the top 5, top 6 positions. And if the circle forms onto them, then he's also able to convert those games for his team. And one of the big reasons for that is because there's a lot of early aggression, so there are a lot more openings to hop in the circle, and that is the kind of calling Sensei likes. So you'd always see them in those last few circles as well as right now. Nate finally landing in, but it's iQOO finding an opener against the members of Marcos Gaming. They were the ones who were a big thorn for OG for a while now. Have to try and flush them out. Another being sent in to try and get another flush, maybe a confirmation, but not really being found out there. Still a player standing up, holding strong. Sensei is also going to be calling in his team over towards the edge, as this fight will eventually define who's going to be taking control now. But Sensei is already falling down. Marcos Gaming finally up on their knees, being pulled down as instantly they'll be bowing down to the apes. Orangutan with Viscord down on his knees. They send Marcos Gaming packing home.
They most certainly did, and now so many finishes in the hands of Orangutan. 8 finishes total, but on the other side we also have Fierce. He has been eliminated. NoNx also being eliminated on the 4th spot. 10 finishes in the hands of Orangutan. They are bringing a different level of domination at this point. 3 teams remaining, 9 players, 10 finishes with the players of OG. They have the numbers advantage. They've got all the 4 players alive. Global Esports left with only 3 players. NoNx left with only 2 players. Global Esports, Manya. Let's see if we can do something. 3 players, 10 finishes. Even Global Esports in this Erangel had a fantastic run.
I mean, the positionings have been impeccable right now, but NINZAs are the ones who are basically a thorn for both of them. Reaper still trying to stop the members. iQOO is on his knees. Can he survive? I don't think so. Smokes are being thrown out to try and basically save his life now. Reaper's got an angle. Not really the best way to try and send out that nade. An AKM being used up with a 6x man, that's bold. But if you can get that under control, then that is one of the best weapons. That can get you an instant knock on the long range players. But that's, again, the thing. You got to get that spray under control. And right now, they're going to be bounced upon from 2 different directions, Shadow.
Could be possible. NINZA, they have to defend their compound at any cost. Also, they are in the right center of the circle. They're also getting a lot of attention from the side of Orangutan and Global Esports, especially Global Esports. They're trying to surround the entire compound of the players of Team NoNx Esports.
They can't really do that properly, right? Because there's OG as well in the vicinity. So I think so this is one of the best chances for NINZA to try and hold on to. Because OG and GE would eventually take the fight and then they can try and survive. But it seems like the worst possible thing is happening for them. Both the teams are now trying to flush this one team out. Down on the knees now. Shots being fired. Nades being thrown. Utilities. Everyone being burnt alive out there. Atanki as the man who's basically the support for OG. It's now also being stopped in just behind that one compound. Another blast though, but not really catching anyone. But NINZA still holding on. Don't really have a proper automatic shotgun out there. So you only have the pump fun. And it's not helping him. It helped Pray God. And Global Esports picked up the perfect timing to jump in the compounds as OG will now trail behind.
Most certainly will. NINZA, they have been eliminated in the 3rd spot, and Spray God is already aware about the position of the few players of Team Orangutan. 12 finishes towards the side of GE, and Crore, my oh my, with a DBS, gets not just 1 but 2 players of Orangutan. This is such a big blow to the players of OG.
They really sent out a couple of players to try and surround this team from 2 different directions. But Spray God came out as a clutch, and Troy survived for a long, long time. He's down on his knees, and Aru, the leader, the IGL, is now going to make his moves. You've already seen one. You already see Troy. The spray is being exchanged out there. He's down low. Support should come from Manya too. Pretty soon the nade being cooked up. This should seal the deal as he throws it all out. But Aru gets another knock. He's got a chance now to survive, to try and make his move. Just around the house right now. Holding it down. Does not really have a lot of HP though. Will still get the first aid back up. Now this is the best possible thing that's happened to him. But he still has to make the move first, Shadow. He's the first one who's closer to the blue.
He certainly is. Aru with a grenade trying to clear out some space, clear out few angles. Troy is still bleeding. Aru the last man standing.
Oh my
Manya
God.
all the way on the rooftop.
Manya does not have the booster. Does not even have the HP right now. And I think so that is where Aru will win. Maybe he's got something. He's got the booster on right now. He will have more HP than Manya. But it is going to fall down to the very last second. They still try to take the fight. They don't really want to let Blue take their life. As it's Manya to close things out. Global Esports claim their first winner chicken dinner of the day.
Certainly, winner chicken dinner for the players of Global Esports. Manya was a guy to lift the trophy back when he was in Global Esports. He also lifted the trophy on the same stage in Season 3 back when he was with the players of Team iQOO Soul. And now, back again in Global Esports, getting a winner chicken dinner, a very good head start, and that too in a style.
Phenomenal fashion. Clearing out everything in the northern vicinity and then moving down to take the fight to the others. and eventually shutting them down. Man, oh man. Let's have a look at the final blow as well as it was Meta NINZA who eventually pincered from two different directions. I genuinely thought maybe they're going to have an opportunity, but seems like GE had different ideas.
The entire roster of Global Esports, if you notice, they're built completely different, especially Stray God as well.
I 100% agree, right? Stray God has been insane, and you know what? I really want to know a lot of more things that were going in the minds of Manus, so let's send it down to stage.
थैंक यू सो मच फॉर्मर चैंपियंस आज अपना चिकन डिनर निकालते हुए इन द लास्ट मैच मान्य हमारे साथ इस टीम की एक खासियत है एटलीस्ट इस सीजन क्योंकि आपने जो टीम बनाई है पिछले सीजन्स में वो खिलाड़ी शायद प्लेइंग फोर का हिस्सा नहीं थे दे वर ऑन द बेंच इस टीम के साथ यू ऑलरेडी पिक्ड अप अ चिकन डिनर क्या कोई सोच है हाउ एक्सटैटिक आर यू राइट नाउ
वो मैं कम्युनिटी में भूखे शेर ढूंढ रहा था तो 3 मिल गए लेके टीम बना दिया
फाइनल फाइट ओरंगुटान एक तरफ आप एक तरफ जब हम देख रहे थे वो आखिरी कुछ पल समझ नहीं आ रहा था कि कौन यहाँ पे बाजी जो है वो मार जाएगा टेक अस टू दैट फाइनल फाइट
मतलब ओजी पे एडवांटेज था और उन्होंने अच्छा मूव बनाया था बट ट्रॉय ने ब्रिलियंट 1v2 किया और फिर हमारे बंदे भी ब्रिलियंट 1v2 हुए बट एंड में मैंने संभाल लिया
मान्या लंबा टूर्नामेंट है 27 दिन है ये मुस्कुराहट जो है इसको बरकरार रखना
ऑब्वियसली अब आपने बोल दिया अब तो दुआ मिल गई
Alright, man. Global Esports former champions. पहले दिन they're on to the leaderboard. लेंगे एक छोटा सा break and we'll join the action on the other side.
R is for RAM on roids. A 12 gigabyte ramped up, run on all engines, upgraded in a world resigned to 8 gig. Ridiculously ripped. Raise the stakes with a ruthless dozen. Ready to raid. Write faster, roll smoother. Reach higher with a refuse-to-die battery. Every app, every activity. Rep, 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 rep. If it's in your radius, R keeps it on rotation. OnePlus 13R. R is ours.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android. It will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born, they practice every day for OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
What? I'm just trying to hydrate myself once the battles are over, right? And Bisleri is the best for you to do that. But with that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You all are watching the OnePlus Android BGMI Masters Series Season 4. The last game is Overshadow, and it was absolutely phenomenal for the side of Global Esports.
It certainly was, and it was not a one-man show. The entire team, Troy, in the end, with the DBS getting a 1v2 situation converted in his favor. Spray God spraying down so many players from the moving vehicle as well. The entire team of Global Esports is looking so promising.
I mean, the promising is absolutely the correct word I was looking, because that is what you would say to Spray God. 9 finishes overall for this dude. Just one shying away from the double digits. 56% finish contribution as well for the team. That means they've had somewhere around 17. Let's have a look at the stars of the match as well. And it's all full with global esports players.
Well, certainly Spray God being the going all-out player with 9 finishes. Best companion has to be Troy with 3 rescues and 2 assists. But Manya was a finisher as he was able to get the last finish all the way from the rooftop of that compound.
I mean, it was the best play out there, right? But since we're talking about the best things, why not you guys have check out the OnePlus 13R as well, as it's got the best in-slot battery life with an ultra-fast charging as well. For those longer gaming sessions, which all of you love, Shadow, you must definitely check out the OnePlus device out there. But now that being kept aside as well, coming back onto the same topic as Manya pulling that nasty spray up as well with that one shotgun. I think kinda got a little bit, you say, impatient there, right? But at the same time, I'm pretty confused. Did he actually have an idea of Manya sitting up top? Because I think so he threw a utility.
Yes, I think he had a vague idea because Manya tried to shot him down once and he missed it, and second time he was able to succeed and he came out of the compound. So yes, patience was really important, but for me the highlight moment of this game was with his power. What just happened? He came with a buggy to take the player down, but he was the one who got taken down.
Seems like Troy and that one position has been his lucky charm there. He did not just only win that 1v2 against OG, but also was able to shoot down his power, who was driving a vehicle. So it seems like he was the key player holding down that key position, and that is one of the big reasons why we see 26 points in the hands of Global Esports right now, bringing themselves back with the Season 4th iteration of the Master Series on top. But OG is not that far behind.
Most certainly. Total 18 points to their name. On the second spot, Revenant X Park. They also had a very consistent run today. In the last match, also total 12 points to their name. And K9 also had a decent run, but God's Rain, Mad Kings, what's happening to them? 0 points to their name. Phoenix Esports, just a single point. Hero Extreme Godlike, just a single point to their name.
This is one of the big things, right, which you would not really expect from them, but considering what has been happening to Phoenix Esports, I think so. It's just like they're still trying to find their groove, still not really being able to adapt to the current meta and with the way how other teams are playing. But guess what, something's never changed, right? Orangutan, without a chicken dinner, they're still up on top of the leaderboard with 45 points. It seems like their form, yes, has dwindled a bit, but the consistency still remains.
The other name of consistency is definitely Orangutan, having perfect balance of finish points and the placement points. But for True Rippers, can't say the same thing. 20 points sitting on the 10th spot. FS Esports, they started off on a very good note in the very first Erangel, but after that, the games were not really in their favor. Total 17 points to their name. OnePlus God's Rain, not a good day to their name as well. 16 points. iQOO 8-bit, this is a bit of the shocker on the 16th spot.
Seems like Aquanox still has not really recovered from his injury as well, and that has been biting them in the back. Troy was in their lineup previously, right? So I think so. That is also something that is kind of hurting them a little bit, because Troy carried a humongous firepower with him. And if there were some people who would not step up to the mark, Troy would definitely be the one who would step up. And I think so at this point, yeah, they're still struggling a bit. But one thing that will make sure that you don't struggle at all, ladies and gentlemen, is definitely the Google Play Protect. Make sure that you keep your apps and data safe, and it comes only exclusively with the Android devices. And Android has also been the title sponsor for the BGMI Master Series now 2 years in a row. That's also a very consistent thing that they've done. And since we're already on the consistency topic, like Revenant X Park, they had a very solid day today.
Yeah, certainly. The first Erangel was the only game where they had a bad outing. Otherwise, I think Revenant X Park has been doing really great. Sensei may feel the vintage Sensei is not back, but I feel he's back in action.
I mean, he indeed is back in action, and Fierce from his squad is as well. 5th on that TVS most wicked player list out there. Joker as well on that 4th. He's got 8 finishes out there, but Spray God and AKOP are the ones who are always the highlight. But if we're talking about highlight, I'm going to give it to the members of OG. Aru and Vizgod on 9th and 10th. That's 3 players from one single team, barring Atanki, who I'm pretty sure would be somewhere around in the top 15. But nice one with Marcos Gaming. K9 as well, having Beast onto this. I think so his entire performance needs to be the key. But looking at the max finishers out here, it's going to be Spray God out here. 10 finishes for the man itself. But ladies and gentlemen, I know there's a lot of things and a lot of questions that we would want to ask. And guess what? We've got some man asking the exact right questions. So let's quickly send it down to him as we'll be back.
You're right. It's the Red Bull Max Takedown Cap. लेकिन ये cap नहीं. This should be a crown. और आज पहले दिन leaderboard के top पे with 9 finishes, mind you. 9 finishes in one match, 10 overall. It is Pray God. ये Red Bull Max Takedown Cap आपके सर पे तब तक जब तक आपको कोई overtake नहीं करता है. यार पिछले 1 साल में अगर आपके ग्राफ को देखें तो बहुत सारे उतार चढ़ाव रहे हैं, लेकिन ऐसा लगा कि एक पॉइंट प्रूव करने के जज्बे के साथ आप उतरे हो. इज दैट करेक्ट टू से?
हाँ, मतलब बहुत लोगों को रॉन्ग प्रूव करना है. 1 साल में मैंने बहुत चीज़ें देख ली, तो अभी दिखाना है कि मेरा पीक फॉर्म सबको.
मान्या की लीडरशिप में मान्या से भी बात हुई थी एंड वो बात बोली थी कि आपकी टीम में जितने भी खिलाड़ी हैं दे वो वार्मिंग द बेंच, उतना खेलने का टाइम नहीं मिला है और उसकी लीडरशिप में खेलना इन इटसेल्फ सपना साकार होने जैसा है. बट छोटा सा सपना है या बड़ा सपना है?
बड़ा तो मतलब सपना तो बहुत बड़ा है. मैंने भी मतलब सोचा था कि हाँ मैं मान्या के साथ खेलूँगा कभी ना कभी. आज वो मतलब खेल रहा हूँ, वो भी एक अच्छा एजल है बहुत. और हाँ हम आगे करेंगे, इंडिया में डोमिनेट, मतलब ट्राई करेंगे पूरा.
आप लोग इस ट्रॉफी को एक बार जीत चुके हो. ऑग जो है वो जीत चुका है ग्लोबल ई स्पोर्ट्स. आज एक चिकन डिनर भी मिला है. यू हैव हिट फॉर्म ऑन डे 1 इटसेल्फ. क्या बात हुई है और इज इट जस्ट टू अर्ली टू से कि इस बार क्या शायद ट्रॉफी पे हाथ आपका हो सकता है?
हाँ, मतलब आए तो हम इसीलिए कि हम जीते और हम चारों, मतलब वही बताया आपने कि हम चारों के साथ कुछ ना कुछ हुआ है, तो मतलब सबको रॉन्ग प्रूफ करना है ये ट्रॉफी जीत के इस टूर्नामेंट में हमें.
ऑलराइट, थैंक यू बडी. टोपी अच्छी लग रही है, बाल भी अच्छे लग रहे हैं. 4 मैचेस, 4 अलग अलग विनर्स. BGMS सीजन 4 इज ऑफ टू अ रॉलिकिंग स्टार्ट. लेकिन वो कहते हैं ना कि ये तो टीजर है, पिक्चर अभी बाकी है. जॉइन अस फॉर एक्शन ऑन डे 2. अंटिल देन, इट्स गुड नाइट.